at 3.
Hey everybody, and welcome to News 6 at 3. It is something brand new here in Central Florida. It is your only live local newscast at this hour. This is what you came here for, all the breaking news without the noise. So we're going to get right to it right now because we start today with some breaking news.
That's right. It's the only one, so it's definitely the best one. We have it for you right now. And we have something that was making parents in Lake County very nervous today. Take a look at this. Lockdowns. They have been lifted at this point at Eola High School, Grass Lake Elementary, Eola Charter, and Pinecrest Academies. We got a tip from a viewer. There was a code red lockdown at the high school. Lake County Sheriff's Office tells us there was a bomb threat made to the school. I want to let parents out there know the district says it came from an anonymous caller. There's no reason to believe that this is a credible threat. The high school is the only one to get a threat, but the sheriff's office recommended that the others lock down just out of an abundance of caution.
Absolutely. So let's get right out to News 6's Mike Valenti. He is at the high school now. Students were let go, Mike, about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, guys, good afternoon. And we're starting to see more students leave. There was a big wave of students around 2:20. That's regular dismissal time that left. And there was a long car line, as you can imagine, just really anxious parents waiting to get their hands on their kids. That line has now dissipated, so it looks like most of the kids have been picked up. But again, despite what happened today, the afternoon schedule for activities continues as normal. That's according to Lake County Schools. They kept us updated at different times throughout the day. So did authorities about this lockdown, a code red lockdown, as you said, prompted by an anonymous caller making a bomb threat. That threat, as you said at the top, not deemed credible, but nonetheless, it had parents desperate to get more information, some of whom were texting their kids. I did speak to one woman, though, however, you're about to hear from her. She, for whatever reason, could not reach her daughter on her cell phone, and she was growing increasingly nervous.
I just want to hug her. I really want to put my hands on her and hold her and hug her and just be grateful that she's okay. So
I could see, the emotions are rising.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, that's Autumn Burton. She has a freshman daughter at Lake Eola. Said she's been through soft lockdowns before, but never a code red. I heard from her and several other parents, when they hear code red, they think of just the worst. And, even though they were hearing from law enforcement and the school district that this was characterized as a, quote, bomb threat, they were also hearing on Facebook and other social media platforms that maybe it was something else. Obviously, we live in a climate where there have been several noteworthy active shooter threats. In this case, it wasn't that. Again, this was not credible, but their minds obviously went to some really dark places. Now, thankfully for them, they were reunited with their children. Regular dismissal proceeded at 2:20. That afternoon schedule of activities, though, still happening. But again, headline here, Lake Eola was on lockdown for hours. It has since been lifted. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, that is great news that everything is okay, but your heart just, hurts for those parents who have no idea what the situation is, because it seems like we just picked up from where we left off last week, because we had a series of these last week, and it started
bunch of issues. Yeah,
Lake Brantley High School was also the victim of something like this. Last Thursday, Lake Brantley was put on a code red lockdown. Of course, that's in Altamont Springs. Altamont Springs police swept the campus for a while before they deemed that it was actually a hoax.
Yeah, this one was pretty creepy. According to an email Friday to Seminole County Public Schools family and staff, a video, which here it is, shows this individual wearing a mask, making vague statements referencing schools and shootings. They have guns in the shot, a swastika in the background. Federal agencies are trying to investigate now the origin of that video to see. It wasn't particularly targeted to Seminole County, but enough to freak them out a little bit and put some extra patrols in place.
Yeah, its vagueness, it made it very creepy and also very scary at the same time. Okay, now we're going to move on to something that is different, completely different from what we just talked about. My goodness, I love a good high action movie. Unfortunately, high-speed chase. They always get my attention, but you don't have to go to a movie to get this one. We love POV videos because this is what happened last week. Take a look.
Over.
All right, so you hear the cop on the motorcycle saying, pull over, pull over. This is in Marion County. It's a high-speed motorcycle chase. Body cam captured the moments a Marion County Sheriff deputy tried to pull over a man. He was also on a motorcycle. And this is so scary because you're seeing it and the speeds that they're going. Apparently, the deputy saw this guy weaving in and out of traffic, and he went out in and out of a construction zone, an active work zone, by the way, and that's where fines are doubled immediately. So that got this officer's attention. The guy, instead of stopping, he took off and led the deputy on this pursuit. Now, they eventually were able to catch him, but not before he threw a couple of things off of his motorcycle. On the dash cam.
What were these things, huh?
There was a handgun, for one.
Yeah.
There was meth and cocaine. It was, what a takedown that was. The motorcycle rider, we have a video or a mugshot of him. His name is Terry Fisher. He was charged with nearly a dozen crimes, including displaying a firearm during the commission of a felony, fleeing and eluding, and much more. But perhaps the biggest crime is once they finally caught him and got him handcuffed, he was crying so hard, the cop actually had to say, stop crying.
You did this to yourself. I encourage you to go on clickorlando.com and watch that video.
Great work by that officer, because that's dangerous work, even in a car, but on a motorcycle, even more so.
And as somebody who rides a motorcycle, if you watch that video, you will be thinking to yourself, man, this deputy can
it's very
ride.
Scary.
He pulls a gun out while pointing it at the guy while riding his motorcycle.
A lot's happening in that video.
Some impressive stuff there, and it all ended relatively safely there. All right, we're getting some more answers now on that batch of astronauts we told you about last week. There was some sort of medical issue, and those astronauts were going to be brought back to Earth earlier than scheduled. So, 2:35 p.m. ISS commander and Crew 11 pilot Mike Fink handed over command to the space station to a Russian cosmonaut. The crew is returning early because of that undisclosed medical condition affecting an astronaut who we're not told which one it is. Crew Dragon will undock from the space station at 5 p.m. Wednesday. The capsule will then splash down Thursday morning, 6:40 a.m. our time. That will come in the Pacific Ocean, and then that person will be able to see and be right in front of a doctor, whoever they are, with whatever condition they have.
This is highly unusual. In fact, so unusual, it has never happened in the history of the space program that they've ended a mission early to bring them home for a medical emergency. We can only hope that everything is okay. Obviously, the person is well enough to fly back, because that's a lot of pressure as well. So we wish them very well.
And they told us it wasn't an emergency.
Yeah, but we'll keep a close eye on that and let you know exactly. I don't know if we'll ever find exactly what the problem was.
Probably not.
Yeah, but we can
Unless they
always
come out
ask
with a
questions.
book or something in the future.
Well, or a movie.
Right.
All right, we're going to move on to a moment after, sorry, the Jags. You lost yesterday to the Bills. But it's a moment at a press conference that's going viral. Take a listen.
I just want to tell you, congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank you.
And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I saw this morning, and I actually sent it to one of our producers as a way to be encouraging today. Had no idea that this was going viral and blowing up, because I'm like, wow, what a wonderful, remarkable thing for this reporter to say, because during the press conference, everyone had already asked a lot of tough questions of this man. You could look at, can you see his face? What you see his whole demeanor shift.
We've been arguing about this before the show
It
started.
is. I thought it was one of the most delightful things one human being could do to another in this situation.
As a person, I think it's very nice. As
Well,
a journalist.
Are you not a person as a journalist?
As a journalist.
What do you turn into as a journalist?
I hate it with a burning white hot passion.
Why do you hate it so
She never
much?
asked a question. It's a press conference. You're supposed to ask questions in a press conference. All she did was tell the guy how wonderful he was and how great he is. If we're a journalist, we're not your mom. We're not.
No one's asking you to
we're
be
not your
his
life
mom.
coach. We're
But
supposed
this
to ask questions.
This is his first year as a head coach for the Jags. They
Yes.
won 13 games this year. They won 9 last year. Okay?
good.
They did really well this year. And so you're going to beat up on this guy who had such a great, and he's a young guy, 40 years old.
I'm not saying
coming into
beat up on him. But I'm just saying.
A lot of people had already beat up on him before. There's no need to press the issue. We know what went wrong. They lost. They didn't win. And if they had another game this coming Sunday, then I don't want her to say, good job. I want her to say, why didn't you do the thing that you normally do? That didn't happen. Their season's over. Don't beat a dead horse.
Conference.
All right, so we took a poll.
Ask the question.
We took a poll.
So the controversy on this
And
topic
you can guess how we voted.
It is our poll of the day. We'll fight this out in the break. Take out your phone. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen. It'll take you to clickorlando.com. So I think we have a look at that poll. We want to know what you think.
There it is. Oh my gosh, Matt.
Well,
wow, what
agrees
a
with
surprise.
you.
93% of the people say that reporter did a great job. And, you know, the person who first sent it out was a reporter from ESPN thinking it was delightful. They're journalists. I don't think that guy is less of a journalist.
Look, it already went down. It went from 93 to 86.
Whatever. That was
just since we had this talk together.
I'm just saying, as a person, what are you different?
I'm just saying,
why are you like
have a
this?
job to do. Just ask a question. All right. Well, let's move on now.
Let's cool off a little bit.
All right. Keeping kids on track to graduate and keeping them in school. This is very important.
Yeah, the new proposal looking to make sure they are staying in the classroom.
Improving attendance. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting from Lake County. That's what a couple of bills that the state legislature will have before them during this year's session focus on to try to improve truancy numbers around the state.
Truancy is a big issue across Central Florida, where 6 counties, Flagler, Lake, Marion, Orange, Osceola, Volusia, are all above the state average for students missing 21 or more days. To intervene early, legislators are considering school attendance bills to create a mandatory alert system requiring districts to alert parents when students hit truancy levels.
It's very important because when it comes time for graduation, and they're like, well, why are you not graduating? Well, they missed the X amount of days, so I think they should be alerted about that.
It would mandate that teachers report students with more than 5 unexcused absences in a month or 10 in 90 days, or if a student misses 10% of school in the first 45 days. The Florida State Board of Education would be required to adopt a statewide attendance policy, and out-of-school suspension as punishment for attendance would be prohibited.
I think it would be better than just suspending them, because when you suspend them, they don't want to come to school no more. Like, what's the purpose at that point?
Central Florida mom Fatima Malone would prefer to see in-school suspension be the norm, including on weekends, to discourage absences.
Because I know I had to do it like once or twice on Saturday, and I didn't like it.
So this is about shifting the focus from punishment to intervention to try to improve student outcomes. Reporting in Lake County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
I mean, it's a really big, important issue. Were you a kid who didn't like school? Because I loved school, and it just, didn't miss a whole lot of days.
School was all right. It was okay. I wasn't looking forward to it like you were, but
never mind.
It was okay.
It explains so much about him right now.
Me.
Yeah. All right. So we have a guy here who we rarely see in the newsroom, but he's always slooping around. It's DJ. He's slooping around trying to figure out what you are interested. Like, for example, that poll that we had that great debate about. But he's figuring out things.
Yeah, he scans all of our social media pages to find out exactly what you're interested and what you're talking about. So here's DJ.
Yeah, hey, the News 6 digital team pumping out all kinds of content on this Monday. But there is one story that's really caught my attention and clearly the attention of many others. This is the post on the News 6 Click Orlando Facebook page. Florida lawmaker calls for mandatory middle school recess. And people have a lot to say about this one, so let's check out some of these comments. Mary says middle school students have always had recess. It's called PE, physical education. Angel says, as a PE teacher, the students deserve the recess time. They need that moment to socialize and have a break. Also, PE is not recess time. Jessica says, I went to a K-8 and had recess in middle school. It was the brain break we all needed. We usually just sat around, talked outside, or played Foursquare, tossed a ball around, etc. Marilyn says they'd all just be staring at their phones. Trisha says it would be incredibly beneficial. Any lack of instructional time would be made up for by better attention and focus. Bernice says, we had physical education after lunch. Our free times were study halls where we got our homework done, or a teacher helped us find answers to questions. And Denise says, okay, but next we should do a bill for recess for teachers, playground and all. Denise, you're speaking my language. I think we all just need a little recess sometimes, right? But really a great conversation happening in that comment section. A lot of different thoughts, a lot of different ideas, why it would work, why it wouldn't work. What do you think? That QR code's been up there. I try to leave it up there as long as possible. That takes you to the link to the post. We want to hear what you think. Drop your ideas in the comments. You'll also find a link to the actual article there if you want to learn more about this proposal. And after all this hard work here in the basement, I think I deserve a little recess time of my own. So I might just go head outside.
Oh my gosh, I do. Recess for teachers. Some people would say that's summer.
That's right. They do need it in the middle of the day, though. And it's interesting. We took a poll on this last week to just kind of get the temperature of the room here. 73% of people said yes. Middle schoolers should be able to get that recess. And I'm a little surprised that you have to legislate recess now. 20 minutes, you have to create a whole new law and get it signed by the governor.
Yeah, but up through middle school, though. I think in high school, you can't really have recess, right?
I agree with you.
You're too cool for recess.
I wouldn't be
at that
against
point.
it.
Yeah. You're not mad at it.
Yeah.
All right, well, major controversy on Capitol Hill today as the federal government opened an investigation into the Fed Reserve Chair.
Right, and some potential security concerns for one of our largest social media platforms. That's coming up after the break.
I'm News 6 anchor Justin Warmoth. Instagram says it has fixed a glitch that flooded inboxes with emails, and Fed Chair Jerome Powell now at the center of a criminal investigation. Let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. So, Maribel, what does this all mean for the investigation?
Okay, Justin, federal prosecutors have opened this criminal investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell. And the probe stems from Powell's congressional testimony about the central bank's $2.5 billion D.C. headquarters renovation last year. Now, Powell responded with a rare video post Sunday night linking the investigation to pressure from the administration over interest rates. In a TV interview hours later, the president said he didn't know anything about the investigation, but he doesn't believe Powell is, quote, very good at the Fed. Economists warn the escalation could chill the Fed's independence as Powell's term ends in May. Justin.
And Maribel, a major glitch over the weekend for Instagram users.
So Instagram says it has fixed an issue that allowed an external party to trigger password reset emails to some users. The company says there was no security breach and that all Instagram accounts remain secure. Still, many users reported being flooded with reset emails in recent days, raising concerns the issue was more widespread. Some cybersecurity researchers point to unverified data circulating online, a link Meta has not confirmed. On Friday, Instagram sent an email to users urging them to reset their passwords and to make sure two-factor authentication is turned on. For creator accounts, the platform turned on that feature automatically. Users can find a link on Instagram's support page to report any unauthorized account access. I mean, Justin, it might feel like a pain, but two-factor authentication is really effective.
It is. Unfortunately, you need to remember what that two-factor authentication app is, because that's what happened to my Facebook currently. I cannot get on Facebook because I don't have that two-factor downloaded anymore, and now I'm going through the whole process of sending in my license to Facebook, and it's been like a month and a half at this point. It's really awful. So make sure you just remember what that two-factor all looks like. So Maribel, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
To get the latest money and consumer news anytime, just head to clickorlando.com.
Hey, I think if social media were out of your weekend, maybe it was a better weekend for you. But
Who knows,
we
right?
are. It's a Monday right now, and
Oh
we're
my
sitting here in our
gosh, can you
digital
believe
center.
this?
Come take a
Can
look
you
at
see
this.
this?
This is happening. This is Kilauea
This is
in
live.
Hawaii.
This is live right now.
Erupting live here in News 6. We're taking all the live feeds. This is the area where we take a good look at everything. We're going to get some information on that as we just noticed it happening behind us.
Give you a tour of things happening across the country right now.
Absolutely. And still on deck, it is all hands on deck to try to restore a community piece of history that people are really concerned about. Welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock, your only live newscast here in Central Florida. Well, most Mondays, our investigator, Lewis Bolden, is figuring out some sort of scheme and why it is happening.
Yeah, and we live here in Central Florida, so we know there's always something happening. Lewis joins us here live now. Lewis, what are you working on today?
So today's story is a follow-up to a story that I originally did back in November. Back in November, I told you about an Apopka family who lost tens of thousands of dollars after a roofing company cashed their insurance check but never replaced their roof. Now, this is the power of local journalism. Another roofing company saw that report and contacted me and said, we want to give that family a new roof free of charge because they just didn't want the entire industry to get a bad rap.
Wow.
And they did that. They have replaced that family's roof. It's the Coleman's family in Apopka. That's their house right there. And so, yeah, they have a brand new roof. That is video of when they were taking the old roof off. And yeah, so the owners of that company, it's called 3MG Roofing and Solar. And someone saw that story and contacted me and said, can you please put us in touch with that family? And the family has been through so much, so it is just so nice for them to get this.
When you get a call like that or an email like that, how do they reach out to you? And then what's the next step?
So they contacted the assignment desk.
Okay.
The assignment desk put them, or the content center, put them in touch with me. And I called the homeowner and I said, listen, I have not vetted this company. I don't know anything about them. But they
be careful.
are interested with, they want your information.
They've been hurt before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I said, you know, do your due diligence and then make your own decision.
Well, fascinating that happened to them in the first place, and that even could happen, that a roofer could just cash your insurance check and then just run away with the money.
I've got more coming on that, so stay tuned for more investigations about that.
Your inbox is always flooded with so many interesting stories, Lewis, but nice that you're always on the job. Thank you, Lewis.
We appreciate it. Lewis Bolden there for us. All right, we are getting some new details this afternoon about that bird flu outbreak that's taking place at Lake Eola right there in the heart of downtown Orlando.
Yeah, this is a really sad story and still developing too. The city of Orlando tells us 6 more swans have now died since our last report, bringing the total now of dead swans to 26. And I think they had a total of 69 swans. Another 6 wild birds died in the outbreak. The city says there are still, however, 46 swans still alive in Lake Eola, but these are really the symbol of the city. They're on signs, they're on billboards, they're everywhere, and this is what you expect when you go down to Lake Eola to see these beautiful swans. Meanwhile, though, a change.org petition to better protect these swans has more than 1,400 signatures right now. I have a feeling that's going to go up. The petition is calling for consistent on-site expert care dedicated specifically to the health and welfare of these swans. It's also asking the city to keep the lake and surrounding swan habitat clean of garbage, debris, and better water quality in Lake Eola, because when you go there, you expect to see the swans. It's a symbol of the city. They have the swan boats for a reason.
And the city says that the water quality really has no impact on whether these birds are dying of the bird flu or not. So, and you do go downtown, and you might see some things in the, like you'd expect, a lake in the middle of a downtown.
It can't help to clean it up more.
Yeah, absolutely. So people are definitely looking at that petition right now, and we'll see if it changes anything in the future.
Yeah, but it's just sad that those birds are dying at such an alarming
and a large percentage of the ones we have there,
Well, thousands of people in Seminole County are dealing with a major change in how they get around town.
In fact, our community correspondent, Jana Mano-Halal, spoke with a woman today who was there waiting for a bus that was never going to come.
If you showed up to Lynx Route 46 in Seminole County expecting to catch a bus, you'd be waiting quite a while. It's one of 8 stops here that this county has eliminated as they move to Scout. It's a on-demand rideshare system. County leaders say the goal is flexibility after saying the Lynx buses were too high a cost and not used enough. We first told you about this change months ago when the county announced Scout would provide door-to-door service instead of requiring riders to walk to bus stops. I spoke with Joseph Nars, who relies on public transportation and says changes like this can hit hard.
I mean, I kind of think it's unfair for them, especially the ones who are struggling, especially today's economy. With a lot of families struggling.
Another rider we spoke with who did not want to go on camera told us the new system doesn't make sense for people who need to travel outside of Seminole County, since Scout does not operate beyond county lines. Scout works through a smartphone app similar to Uber or Lyft, allowing users to request a ride within designated zones inside of Seminole County alone, meaning it does not provide service outside of the county. One Seminole County rider was still waiting for Lynx 45, but that route was discontinued, and she had no idea.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. She's number 103 anymore.
Correct.
Why would they do that?
Lynx buses are still running, and this is where things get confusing. Not all routes are gone, just these 8. One major difference between Lynx and Scout is cost. Lynx fares were typically around $2 and free for many students. Scout rides start at about $4 for trips within one zone, with price increasing the farther you travel within Seminole County. Wait times have also been a concern. In recent months, riders previously told News 6 they experienced waits of up to an hour or more. The county responded by adding more vehicles to the Scout fleet. I reached out to Seminole County officials today to ask whether wait times have improved or whether more changes are planned. When we hear back, we'll bring you updates on both here and clickorlando.com. Reporting in Seminole County, I'm Jana Manahal, News 6.
Okay, I love that she was actually at that bus stop and saved that woman some time, some precious time. She'd already lost a lot of time not knowing.
Yeah.
But that's all a part of being a community correspondent in the community, seeing what we actually reported.
And this is what we're hoping, because we've been talking about that changeover for months now, and we hope people see it, but there you go. Somebody impacted
You're always
had
gonna
no
miss something.
idea when they showed up, which is not what we want to see, but at least she knows now.
Absolutely.
Well, we first told you about a forgotten piece of Daytona Beach history. We told you about that last June.
Yeah, but now Pinewood Cemetery is getting a second chance. News 6's Jarrell Baker shows us how the community is coming together to make it all happen.
Heavy machinery, volunteers, and more. Hard at work at Pinewood Cemetery Sunday, giving a forgotten historic piece of Daytona Beach history a much-needed facelift.
This cemetery has been abandoned with no true owner since the Merchants Bank went belly up back in the Great Depression. So this is really, really huge.
This is what the cemetery looked like when News 6 first told you about this back in June last year. After decades of neglect, business owners, landscapers, and volunteers are stepping up to help restore the burial site.
My history is I've been here 3 years, but I was raised here. I've seen it grow, I've seen it come back, I've seen it grow up. I want to be part of this cemetery.
Not a dollar was spent other than everybody's time here.
Tom Coffrey with the Historic Pinewood Cemetery Association says that more than 1,700 people have been buried in the 152-year-old burial site, including one of the brothers from the Real McCoy family, the famous rum runners during Prohibition.
We've got some of the founders of Daytona, the first police chief, the first mayor.
With the help of all the volunteers, the recently formed nonprofit is hoping to transform the site into a place worth visiting.
You know, we've cleaned up the homeless people out of here. We're bringing new life to this cemetery.
The organization is hoping to get the cemetery up and running by the 4th of July. In Daytona Beach, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
I mean, I know what he means when he says they're bringing new life to a cemetery, which is not normally what you want to hear.
Right, yeah.
But there's a lot of history buried, literally buried here in Central Florida, and so now they're bringing it back. And I love to see that the community's coming together for the good of all of those things that happened in the past.
A lot of cemeteries like that, too, that could use some of that same attention. Well, I don't know if you were able to watch a little football this weekend.
I think we already talked about it one particular
I know
day.
you saw a press conference this weekend. Postseason football in Florida has come to a close, unfortunately. Back and forth affair in Jacksonville yesterday ends with Buffalo winning the game. The Bills beat the Jaguars 27-24. Still, though, magical season for the Jaguars. Everybody, including the press, can admit that. 13 wins, second most in one season in franchise history. First-year head coach. Very impressive.
Can I say he did a good job?
Just ask him a question when you're in a press
he did a
conference.
great
All right.
job. How did you do such a good job is my question.
Yeah, that is a real hard-hitting question, Ginger. So here's a look at where the NFL bracket stands right now. The Bills play the Broncos, 49ers play the Seahawks, Rams play the Bears, and then tonight, the Steelers, my Steelers, host the Texans at 8:15. Winner of that game goes on to lose to the Patriots. After that, the game will be on News 6. And also, home game, college football for the national championship. Top-ranked Indiana plays Miami in Hard Rock Stadium. First time a national championship has been played on a home field. It's never happened before. Also, home game for the Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. This guy, He is a stud. He grew up half mile from Miami's campus. It's been fun to watch, and it should be very interesting. The Hurricanes are going to need that home field advantage because Indiana looks like a world beater right now.
Yeah, it sounds like you're rooting for some of those teams, Matt. Let's keep it neutral.
I know. I can't be unbiased.
Hey, we still have a lot more coming up here on News 6 at 3 o'clock. We'll show you what's happening live, not only here in Central Florida, but remember that live video we showed you of that volcano erupting in Hawaii? We're going to get back to that in just a moment.
Also going to get a check of that weather. You thought it was a little chilly this morning. You have no idea what is headed for you coming up.
Your Monday evening traffic alert. We will see some new stuff this week, starting with tonight out here, lane closure, Pine Hills Road, north and southbound, starting about Indian Hill Road. Now, we've seen construction out here before, but do expect some serious slowdowns overnight, especially if you live out there. Also, 528, some of that routine stuff out by the airport, out by Goldenrod, daytime and nighttime, and some ramps will be shut down overnight. Westbound I-4 to eastbound State Road 528. I'm Trooper Steve with the News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Let's take a live look out at Daytona Beach. It might look like it's a little drizzly out there, but it's not. The drizzle came yesterday, and that is when the cold front came through, and it cooled things off a little bit. A lot of people woke up this morning and said, wow, this is so cold this morning. I know they were at my house, but this is more like normal temperatures, meteorologist Julie Broughton.
Right, this is how we started out the day. So we were had a morning low of 50 in Orlando. Our average is 49, but remember how warm it was last week? We even had record warmth on Friday. So definitely compared to what we've been dealing with, that's why it felt so cold. But we have the real cold coming, Matt, so don't you worry. We have more for you. Now, as we take a look ahead over the next 10 days or so, this is what we're expecting. See all that blue across Central Florida? That means cold. So we will be below normal for about the next 10 days. So we have a series of cold fronts headed our way this week. This is what we can expect Friday morning, and the models continue trending even a little bit colder. So for now, we're calling for 36 in Orlando Friday morning, 30 in Ocala, 36 in Leesburg. And I have a question for you, Matt. I know you have experience of parenting teenagers longer than I do. Do teenagers just not wear coats?
No, they wear hoodies. Even if it's, they'll always wear a hoodie, but there's going to be shorts. No matter what
Okay, because
happens,
my
is gonna
daughter
come.
told me that coats are embarrassing. So
Coats, yeah, she's not going to wear a coat, but you can probably get a hoodie on her.
Okay, because even on days like that, my daughter's like, no, coats are embarrassing. But this is what your kids will be stepping out the door to, and you too on Friday. These are the important numbers, though. This is how it will feel Friday morning. So we're talking about wind chill readings of 23 in Palm Coast, 25 in New Smyrna Beach. It will feel like 27 in Orlando and Kissimmee. So this potentially is the coldest air we've seen this winter. The last time we were this cold was December 31st, which was 37. Before that, we hit 36 on November 11th. So we are likely going to see temperatures that trending even a little bit colder. 7-day forecast showing no big warm-ups for us. We do have some rain coming our way Wednesday and Thursday. It's that rain that will bring us that cool down for the weekend. Even Saturday will be starting in the upper 30s, and then Monday still in the upper 30s. So if you put your coats away, if you put your boots with the fur away, get everything back out.
Just tell her she doesn't have to wear a coat, but don't call you to come bring it to school. I'm not coming later to bring that and save you. All right, let's get back into Ginger for a look at what's happening around the country. Gigi?
Yeah, Matt and Julie, so many things happening, and that's why we're in the News Acquisition Center, where we're going to show you all the images as they're coming in. We showed you that volcanic activity. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But first, we want to start with something closer to home that's really of the utmost importance. Lockdown lifted at Mineola High School now. The Grassy Lake Elementary, Mineola Charter, and Pinecrest Academies. We got a tip from a viewer that there was a code red lockdown at the high school. That's where we had our News 6 correspondent Mike Valenti. Lake County Sheriff's Office tells us that there was a bomb threat made to the school. District says it came from an anonymous caller, and there's no reason to believe that it is a credible threat. High school was the only one to get a threat. Sheriff's Office recommended that the others lock down out of an abundance of caution. So we're happy to say that school dismissed when it was supposed to, and everybody is okay. Now to Uvalde. The Uvalde officers' trial resumes in Texas. Adrian Gonzalez, charged with child endangerment or abandonment in Robb Elementary school shooting. It killed 12 children and 2 teachers. They all died in this. Gonzalez was the first member of law enforcement to arrive at the school when a gunman was still outside the facility. Now, the indictment says he failed to follow and attempted to follow his active shooter training. He says he did everything he knew how to do in that situation. The testimony today, though, included the only teacher to survive that shooting. So that had to be something in that court. But you're looking at live pictures right now in that courtroom that was moved from Uvalde because of all the publicity it received. All right, we want to take you back to those live pics out of Hawaii right now. This is the big island, Kilauea. This is just unbelievable. This doesn't even look real. When you see things and you say things are AI, this looks like somebody posted this and it's AI. But Kilauea is spewing rivers of lava ahead of an anticipated 40th eruptive episode since the end of last year. According to the USGS, Kilauea has been erupting episodically, I should say, since December 23rd. 2024, and each episode lasting less than 12 hours and separated by pauses that can be longer than 2 weeks. So you know how you have like an earthquake and then you have aftershocks? Shocks. It's crazy to see this. So, and based on volcanic activity over the weekend, this is going to be the 40th eruptive episode there. So we keep a close eye on that. But what a spectacular sight. And you can look at our live cameras wherever you want. Just head to clickorlando.com.
I spoke with the man whose wife lives at this senior living facility in Volusia County. I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton. He says that he was completely shocked when the executive director was accused of stealing and selling residents' jewelry. It's a betrayal that's felt.
I was just blown away.
I was shocked.
At Arya Senior Living Facility in Volusia County, people are reeling from seeing an arrest warrant out for their executive director, Sean Burstein.
He's a family man, and I feel sorry for his family, and I have no idea because he's always so friendly.
The investigation began when an engagement ring was reported missing from a woman's bedroom, and deputies say Burstein can be seen on camera attempting to open up her jewelry box.
I hope that if he did take the stuff, that they can get it back.
When Burstein turned himself in Friday, deputies say he admitted to stealing over 90 pieces of jewelry from people living at the facility, pawning them off for cash from last September to December. Sandy McLaughlin says as a senior, she would not immediately suspect something to be stolen.
When you get my age, you think, what did I do with that? And then sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't.
I met Bob Jones, who was visiting his wife.
We've been married 72 years and 8 months.
The last 3 months, she's lived at Arya. Now he's concerned about the future.
We're supposed to be involved with that particular person to do the proper thing with our John Hancock lifetime care and so forth with this installation here. Now I'm wondering how that'll work out for us.
A spokesperson for the facility told News 6 the safety and well-being of our residents remain our highest priority. We are cooperating fully with law enforcement authorities, and Mr. Burstein is no longer employed at the community.
I guess we all feel a little betrayed or things like that are supposed to happen.
And as this investigation continues, police are asking that if anyone believes that their family members were impacted, they contact police. Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Just an unbelievable story right there. As we get ready for News 6 at 4 o'clock, we welcome in anchor Lisa Bell.
Nice to see you this afternoon. And as the clock ticks closer to 4, our community correspondents are busy working their stories right now.
Yeah, and one of those correspondents is our Sanford community correspondent, Catherine Silver.
Kat, what are you working on today?
Hi guys, we're here at the police department in Sanford because it looks like more officers here will soon be equipped with the tech that they use to run radar. We're looking into how the city is looking to spend some grant money from FDOT to hopefully reduce the number of crashes caused by speeding and aggressive driving. We'll have a lot more information for you coming up on News 6 at 4.
No. All right. Catherine Silver, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Very important stories taking place from all of our community correspondents today. And I know you guys are gearing up for a big 4 o'clock show right now.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about some much needed improvements that may be on the way for one historic school.
All right, we're going to talk about that coming up at 4 o'clock. So be sure and stay with us when we come back. All right, welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock, everyone. We just cannot get enough of these live pictures from the Big Island of Hawaii. This is Kilauea erupting in real time. It looks like AI, but it is live. Unbelievable that this started about 8 o'clock local time this morning. And this particular episode started December 23rd of 2024 and has been going ever since, and it could calm down, and then there could be as many as 2 weeks in between another episode.
It's amazing to see the colors coming from that eruption.
It's so vibrant, but it's just, that's how we got Hawaii. It's building the island right now as we speak with that volcanic eruption. And who knows how long this one will last, but they're saying we're probably in for a show for the next couple of days or so.
Well, tonight, the Lake County School Board will once again discuss rebuilding Eustis Elementary.
Yeah, they are. And we have a lot more coming up on that, too. We're getting ready for a News 6 at 4 o'clock coming up. Central Florida schools are seeing a third threat. We're going to talk about that in a moment, but let's get to our community correspondent.
For that to happen here in our own community is fantastic.
Brianna Phil hopes to see Eustis Elementary shine bright once again.
I think it's long overdue. This neighborhood absolutely needs something upgraded and new for these kids here in Eustis.
The school, over a century old, is set to be rebuilt soon. The Lake County School Board voted last fall to reconstruct and expand the school. Renderings of a remodeled Eustis Elementary maintain its historic charm, like the iconic arches and front porch.
I love that Eustis really makes that a priority. Having that historical significance, even if it's just the architecture, it's important.
Keeping the school in the same location was also a big priority.
That was one of the first things that we heard from that community, was how much this really is the heart of this area and how much they have embraced it, honestly, over the 100 years.
There's several upgrades planned, from new buildings to in-classroom bathrooms and new technology. The design phase is underway, and Monday night, 3 agenda items will focus on this part of the project, with the initial plan creating enough room for 650 students, but leaving space for future expansion to accommodate up to 750. While construction is happening, students will be moved to the Kurt Wright Center for the start of school in 2027. They'll stay there until August 2029, when they can return to the brand new Eustis Elementary School. In Lake County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
It's always nice to have something new. We are getting ready for News 6 at 4. Coming up, Central Florida schools are seeing their 3rd week in a row where we're learning about an investigation happening now at Lake County High.
Also ahead, a family who lost thousands of dollars to a roofing company is now getting that roof replaced thanks to another business that is stepping up. We're going to have that story for you as well coming up.
Lewis Bolden did a great job in that. Somebody reached out to him. Someone had been ripped off and had not gotten the money for a roof, and a company contacted him saying, "We want to help you."
News 6 at 4 starts right now.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
Coming up, a frightening day for parents of students at Lake Mineola High School. A lockdown lasting hours after a bomb threat was placed, one that authorities say was not credible.
A 10-year-old and elderly woman left dead in Brevard County after a house fire engulfed this entire home Monday morning. I'm News 6's Jana Manahola. What we know about this fire coming up.
We started the day around 50 in Orlando and 42 in Ocala, but as we move through the next 10 days, we're keeping it colder and wetter than normal. I'll break it all down coming up.
For the 3rd time in a week, we are seeing yet another school threat here in Central Florida, this time at Lake Mineola High School.
It was on lockdown for most of the school day. An anonymous caller made a bomb threat. Deputies say it is not credible. News 6's Mike Valenti has been at Lake Mineola High School all day and spoke with parents as they anxiously awaited news. He joins us now live. So, Mike, that lockdown was lifted right before dismissal time.
Yeah, Ginger and Lisa, that's right. Parents were able to be reunited with their kids around dismissal time at 2:20. Some of those parents had been here waiting outside, waiting on word about what was happening inside since about 10 a.m. Now, while we were outside with them, deputies were sweeping the campus behind me. We did have a chance to speak to a couple parents on camera. They each have a freshman at Lake Mineola, and we want you to hear what today was like in their own words.
I just want to hug her. I really want to put my hands on her and hold her and hug her and just be grateful that she's okay. So
I could see, the emotions are rising.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, it was like an adrenaline rush. My heart was pounding. I went back, and my initial thought was, if I hear or see anything, I'm going to take action. So.
Is he scared right now?
Yeah, he was pretty scared. Yeah.
The world we're in now, you fear the worst. When the words active shooter came out, I feared the worst.
Oh, he was running late today, so I came to drop him off, and by the time I got home, we had gotten the notification that there was school went on lockdown. It was a code red. So, that's like the scariest one. So I turned around and came back.
I was actually in my pajamas originally. I ran out of the house.
What's your first thought when you hear the words code red?
Active shooter, and I panicked, to be honest.
I've been here since a little after 10 a.m.
What has today been like for you?
Miserable, horrible. I've cried a few times because you get a lot of mixed information.
I told him to hide, stay safe, listen to your, administrator, and, just keep me updated.
What does tomorrow look like for you and your family?
I don't know how I feel about letting her come to school, honestly.
You just heard from parents Autumn Burton and Otto Lopez in their own words. So again, that threat that we talked about deemed not credible. Lockdown was lifted shortly before dismissal, so parents were reunited with their kids around 2:20. An important thing to note, despite everything that happened today, the afternoon schedule of activities continued as normal. We actually saw a couple students running before, so again, that threat not credible. But for now, we're live from Lake Eola High School. I'm Mike Valenti, News 6.
Mike, thank you. A live look now at our camera in Daytona Beach. We have a wetter and colder week ahead this week.
Emphasis on colder. Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with what we can expect, Julie.
And you noticed all those clouds in that live view from Daytona Beach. Not seeing any rain out there, but a lot of cloud cover thanks to winds coming in gusting to around 26 miles per hour from the northeast in Daytona Beach. Also seeing winds gusting to about 15 miles per hour in Kissimmee. So a lot of us have seen more clouds than sun throughout the day. This is our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera over downtown Orlando, where right now we're sitting at 66 degrees. It is 69 in Kissimmee and 60 in the Villages. On average, we're around 5 to even 10 degrees cooler than we were yesterday at this time, but the big cool down comes by Friday. Here's what you can expect when you wake up Friday morning, 36 in Orlando. I'll break it all down for you coming up.
All right, Julie, thank you. Firefighters are investigating a house fire that killed a 10-year-old boy and a 74-year-old woman. It happened overnight on Janus Road, northeast. That's west of I-95 in Palm Bay. News 6's Jana Manahalal joins us now live from the house with what could have contributed to this devastating and deadly fire. Jana?
Yeah, there isn't much left of this home, as you can see straight through it. Now, the fire department does tell me that the home did have tons of items in it that the family had collected over the years. Now, those items are what fire investigators believe gave fuel to this fire, causing it to grow so quickly.
When somebody that young passes away, it's just devastating.
On this Palm Bay street, neighbors are grieving for the death of two people, including a 10-year-old boy, and trying to process how a home they passed every day turned into a deadly inferno overnight.
So big. It was so big. Fires, and then these, people next door were, both sides worried about their house catching fire.
Early Monday morning, 911 calls came in about a house already engulfed in flames. Within minutes, Assistant Fire Chief John Rigleb's crews were on scene. When crews arrived, they tell me the entire roof of this house was completely gone, and now it sits here charred in bits and pieces scattered around the house. The damage suggests the fire may have been burning for some time before crews arrived. Palm Bay Assistant Fire Chief Ringleb walked me around the house, showing the destruction. When crews arrived, they tried to enter from multiple points of this house, the front door, the back door, the windows, but those flames were too big and too massive to be able to get into the home. They also tell me that the home had lots of collectible items, sentimental items, making it easier for the fire to attach to and grab onto and grow as fast and as quickly as it did. We're going to show you an example of that stuff we were talking about, just that has accumulated over the years now in charred bits. There are some shelving, some old home equipment, some storage items completely left demolished. For the firefighters, knowing people were trapped but unreachable is the kind of call that lingers long after the flames are out.
This has got a lot of layers to it, unfortunately. From a boots on the ground, first responder aspect of it, it's very, very difficult for them to want to do their job, and unfortunately, they just weren't able to do that.
Neighbors say the 10-year-old's name was Noah, saying he was always outside, always smiling, a constant presence riding his bike up and down this street. The Florida State Fire Marshal's office now currently working to investigate what exactly caused this fire. Live in Brevard County, I'm Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Jana, thank you. There is growing bipartisan pushback in response to the Federal Reserve Chair revealing that the Justice Department is investigating him. It's all in connection to the central bank's renovation project in Washington, D.C. Natalie Brand has the details.
This unprecedented action should be seen in the broader context of the administration's threats.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell revealed the Justice Department is threatening a criminal indictment against him related to what he said to Congress last June about renovations at the Fed's D.C. headquarters. The Trump administration has criticized the project, estimated at $2.5 billion, as costly and ostentatious. But Powell says this investigation is just a pretext.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
In recent months, President Trump has frequently attacked Powell for not lowering interest rates fast enough.
He should be fined. Guy's grossly incompetent.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have blasted the DOJ probe, saying the Fed's independence is at stake.
The Fed has been the gold standard for that kind of monetary policy decision making. And Donald Trump is just burning that to the ground.
Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski released a statement saying the administration's investigation is nothing more than an attempt at coercion. She added that her fellow Republican Senator Tom Tillis is right in blocking any Federal Reserve nominee until this is resolved.
Are you worried that the probe undermines the independence of the central bank and could destabilize the markets?
If you think the building costs $20 billion or $10 billion, do you think at some point that it's appropriate for the federal government to investigate?
The Federal Reserve is self-funded and an independent agency. The White House denied Monday that President Trump directed the DOJ to investigate Powell. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
All right, we're going to take you out live right now because this is happening right now. SpaceX is getting ready to launch another round of Starlink internet satellites from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. They're going to launch about 29 of these things. This is the 5th launch of the year so far. Here we are at January 12th. Let's listen in.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. Chamber pressure nominal.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Vehicle is supersonic. Max Q. MVAC, chill.
All right, you can see that that launch appears to have gone off flawlessly. If you want to continue watching this, you can head on over to our website, clickorlando.com. Well, it is the end of the road for most Lynx bus routes in one Central Florida county.
They are no longer in service to make room for something new. We'll explain why and what this means for people who rely on public transportation. That's coming up.
Results after a News 6 investigation. Last November, we told you about an Apopka family who lost tens of thousands of dollars after a roofing company cashed their insurance check but never replaced their roof. Now, another company saw that report and is replacing the family's roof at no charge. I'm investigator Lewis Bold, and we'll have the story next.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Results after a News 6 investigation. Last November, we told you about an Apopka family who lost tens of thousands of dollars after a roofing company cashed their insurance check but never replaced their roof. Now, another local company, 3MG Roofing and Solar, saw that story and contacted me offering to replace the family's roof at no charge. The sound of construction. The sound of shingles being ripped from the roof, making way for a new one. For Steve Coleman's family, has been a long time in the making. How does that make you feel?
You know, there's still good people in this world, and 3MG, John, Danny at 3MG Roofing, they proved that when they saw the story on News 6.
The story was how the Colemans signed a contract for a roof replacement with a company called Hurricane Roofer. According to court records, Coleman's insurance company settled a claim for a new roof and issued a check for $28,000, made payable to Steve and his wife Yvette, Hurricane Roofer, and Rocket Mortgage. Coleman's insurance company confirmed Hurricane Roofer cashed the check in July of 2025, but never returned to replace the roof.
We saw a post actually on Facebook about the story and about what was going on with the Colemans.
John Hagan is a sales manager with 3MG Roofing and Solar.
I sent a text to my main two owners, said, hey, there's somebody in our community that could use some help, and are you guys down to make this happen? And without hesitation, they responded yes, and here we are.
3MG Roofing says this will be a quick job. The roof replaced, even the dumpster removed, all in 2 days. 3MG Roofing and Solar is replacing the roof at no charge to the Colemans. One owner told me because they didn't want the whole industry to get a bad rap.
We do right.
Dexter Grant is a senior project manager.
And we just want to make sure, we still just go into each community, leave a good impression.
And after that initial story with Mr. Coleman, even more victims came forward with complaints about the same company.
My jaw dropped.
We saw the News 6 article with the Colemans. We're like, that is exactly what's happening to us here.
In Palm Beach County, Scott Barr and Christina Baez and their neighbor, Charlie Benoit, say they paid Hurricane Roofer $11,000 deposits last year. And 7 months later, no roof and no communication.
As soon as I paid him, everything changed.
The Colemans still haven't received their money, but at least now they have a new roof.
I can honestly say prayer changes things because, again, 3MG showed up when it seems like, all hope was lost.
News 6 called the business number for Hurricane Roofer and it has been disconnected. We tried the owner's personal cell and did not get a response. Louis Bolden, News 6.
All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Julie Broughton, who is standing by. If you had not been paying attention, you woke up to quite the surprise this morning.
I felt the front physically come through yesterday.
Yeah, we were together having brunch and the rain came through.
And then after that, things changed. It was different after that, Julie.
So, as cold as it felt this morning, we were still warmer than average. That's how spoiled we've been with these warm temperatures. So in Orlando, we fell to 50. The average low this time of year is 49, but by the end of the week, we'll be well below average. So we'll keep it mild again tonight. Then by the middle of the week, we're going to be tracking some rain. Our dry season has been unusually dry, so we are desperate for some rain. It won't be drought-busting rain, but certainly beneficial. And then by the end of the week, we are talking about potentially the coldest air of the season. So as of winter, now, of course, winter didn't start till December 22nd, but our coldest day of winter so far was 37 degrees on New Year's Eve. Before that, we dropped to 36 degrees on November 11th. Again, the average low is 49, so it looks like we'll likely beat that. We'll drop to 36 degrees Friday morning in Orlando. If you're in Ocala, you'll fall to 30, 33 in the Villages, and 41 for your overnight low in Cape Canaveral on Friday morning. But here are the important numbers. When you factor in the winds, this is what it will feel like when you are stepping out the door to work and school on Friday morning. It will feel like 28 in Ocala, 25 in the Villages. Leesburg, you're going to feel like 26 degrees. It will feel like 33 in Cocoa Beach and feeling like 23 in Palm Coast. So hopefully you haven't put the winter clothes away because we are looking at a cooler than normal stretch as we head through the next several days. Here's what it looks like for us right now. This is our Launch Credit Union camera out there at Cape Canaveral, where we are seeing a lot of sunshine. Right now sitting at 69 degrees. It is breezy today with winds gusting from the north around 14 miles per hour. If you're in Claremont, you're at 61, 60 in Ocala, 57 right now in Palm Coast, and 69 degrees in Kissimmee. We've seen winds gusting up to around 30 miles per hour at times today, including in New Smyrna Beach. And right now in Leesburg, your winds are gusting at 20 miles per hour. Now, here's your hour-by-hour forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Okay, so here is Mr. Gray. He's enjoying a head massage on this Monday. Isn't he beautiful? His beautiful green eyes. 63 degrees at 7 o'clock, 60 degrees at 8 o'clock. Head to clickorlando.com/pins to share your pet photos with us. Now, I want to jump ahead Wednesday into Thursday, so that's when we're looking at more moisture rolling through. A front pushes through Thursday into Friday, and behind that we'll see strong winds out of the north. And as high pressure builds in behind that, that is what is going to help bring us those unusually cold temperatures when we wake up for Friday morning. Now here's what we can expect for tonight in Orlando. You'll go to an overnight low of 55, 61 for your overnight low in Mico, 50 in Palm Coast, and 46 overnight tonight in Ocala. Now your 7-day forecast, we have a lot going on in this. Now for your Tuesday, we go back up to 72, so right in the normal range. Then Wednesday, we'll see the front that went through yesterday wiggling back to the north, bringing a 40% chance of rain. 50% chance of rain on Thursday. Thursday, another cold front comes through. We get only to 61 degrees. Then Friday, that's where things really settle in with the cold for us. 36 to start the day on Friday, not getting out of the 50s, then 39 on Saturday. And even as we head into Monday, we're still talking about lows in the 30s. So we'll be bundling up for the extended forecast.
I got my earmuffs ready.
Oh
Thank
my
you,
gosh.
Julie. 8 bus stops are now closed in Seminole County, replaced by an on-demand service.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. Why would they do that?
This woman was actually waiting for her bus when she realized it wasn't coming because it's been discontinued, the impact it's having. Next, a live look now at downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
Thousands of people living in Seminole County now have to find a new way to get around.
Yeah, on Friday, we told you how Lynx was ending most routes to transition to an on-demand rideshare service called Scout. Leaders say the Lynx buses were too high a cost and not used enough. A few months ago, the county announced Scout would provide door-to-door service instead of requiring riders to walk to bus stops. Now, one man who relies on public transportation says changes like this can hit some riders harder than others.
I mean, I kind of think it's unfair for them, especially the ones who are struggling, especially today's economy, with a lot of families struggling.
Now, one major difference between Lynx and Scout is cost. Lynx fares were typically around $2 and free for many students. Scout rides start at about $4 with trips within one zone. Prices increase the farther out you go or travel within Seminole County.
Another rider told us the new system does not make sense for people who need to travel outside of Seminole County since Scout does not operate beyond the county lines. Scout works through a smartphone app similar to Uber or Lyft. It allows users to request a ride within designated zones. Wait times have also been a concern. In recent months, riders told News 6 they experienced waits of up to an hour or more. The county responded by adding more vehicles to the Scout fleet. Now, if you are unsure which Lynx routes remain, you can find the link to the full list in this story at clickorlando.com.
Tomorrow, Florida lawmakers are heading to Tallahassee.
Property tax cuts, gun laws, immigration, and AI rules are all in play this year. We're taking a look at what to expect. That's next.
Soon, more officers will be running radar here in Sanford. We're looking into how the city plans to spend thousands of dollars on enforcement and what difference it could make.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
A bomb threat forced Lake Mineola High School to go on lockdown. Lake County deputies say they got a tip. Grassy Lake Elementary, Mineola Charter School, and Pinecrest Lakes Academy were also under lockdown while deputies investigated. They believe the threat was not credible. The lockdown at all of the schools was later lifted. A 10-year-old boy and a woman were killed in a house fire. It happened overnight on Janice Road, northeast, west of I-95 in Palm Bay. Firefighters say they found a woman outside the home who said 2 others were trapped. Firefighters tried several times to get into the home, but say the extreme heat kept them from getting inside. The cause of the fire is under investigation. SpaceX just launched another batch of Starlink internet satellites from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. We showed it to you live right here on News 6 at 4 o'clock. Of course, after the liftoff, the first stage returned and landed on a drone ship in the Atlantic.
Does Sanford have a speeding problem? News 6 is learning the problem is serious enough that the city is getting thousands of dollars from FDOT to reduce the number of crashes from speeding or aggressive drivers. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is live at the police department. And Catherine, you are asking what areas they are concerned about the most.
Yes, Sanford police will be asked to look at what areas have the highest volume of crashes on a bi-weekly basis, and those are the locations where they would likely focus their enforcement efforts.
I do see people speeding mostly on 1792.
Drivers say Sanford has a need for speed enforcement, and the state has taken notice. Soon they'll be spending thousands of dollars in grant money, hoping to decrease the number of speed-related crashes in a city where FDOT says it's needed. Documents included in the agenda for Monday's commission meeting show Sanford ranks in the top 40% for serious injuries or fatalities related to speed and aggressive driving in the last 3 years.
Just the other day by the zoo, some guy jumped around about and all, just sped by and just kept on going. And I had my kids in the car with me, so yeah.
Drivers we met Monday say it's a problem. Is it getting worse, the speeding?
Yes.
Kathy Slater has spent over 20 years on our roads driving school buses.
The stop arms don't make a difference. They'll keep right going. The kids are crossing over. Sometimes I have to hold the kids on the bus until the traffic slows down.
FDOT has awarded the city $30,000 to use on enforcement from now until September. They'll use that money to buy more equipment so more officers here have the tech they use to run radar and for overtime. In 2023, this report shows a similar grant given to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office led to 69 enforcement operations and 315 speeding citations. They targeted speeding on the interstate.
I think something needs to be regulated. I see police down there, but I would like to see more activity down there as well.
We also looked at the impact similar efforts have had in places like Orlando. That same report we showed you shows that Orlando police used more than 1,000 overtime hours. They ended up reducing the number of crashes with serious injuries or fatalities by about 30% compared to the 3-year average. I'm live in Sanford. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. In Apopka, a 2-car crash sent a police officer to the hospital. This happened last night around 11:45 at the intersection of Claricona Road and Cleveland Street, just southeast of Phyllis Wheatley Elementary School. Apopka police say the officer went to the hospital as a precaution. The Florida Highway Patrol says the driver of a Hyundai Genesis, a 19-year-old man, did not go to the hospital and stayed at the scene. We are still waiting to find out what led up to the crash.
Well, this week, NASA plans to bring SpaceX's Crew 11 back home because of a medical issue on board the International Space Station. The astronauts held a change of command ceremony earlier today.
This has been passed on for a long time. It's the key to the ISS. So, Sergey, do you accept command of the International Space Station?
Yes, I accept command of International Space Station.
NASA says the 4 Crew 11 astronauts could undock as early as 5 o'clock this Wednesday evening, January 14th, with a splashdown off the coast of California on Thursday morning. The return comes months earlier than the original February schedule. NASA says one crew member experienced a medical issue and the agency wants to bring the crew home to do further testing.
This was a serious medical condition. That is why we're pursuing this path. The capability to diagnose and treat this properly does not live on the International Space Station.
NASA and SpaceX will finalize splashdown locations and time based on weather conditions. NASA astronaut Chris Williams and 2 Russian cosmonauts will remain on the ISS. And in more space news, NASA says final preps are underway for the highly anticipated Artemis 2 mission. 4 astronauts are set to take a 10-day journey to the moon and back, the final test flight before a planned lunar landing on the Artemis 3 mission. NASA says it could move the massive space launch system rocket to the pad as soon as this Saturday. The launch could be as soon as February 6th, but a final date has not yet been set. And remember, you can be in the know for all things space through our Covering the Space Coast and Beyond newsletter. It goes right to your email every week. Just head to clickorlando.com/newsletters to subscribe.
Pass a budget. That is the only job that Florida lawmakers have to do. Yet starting tomorrow, everything from what your kids learn to what you pay in taxes to AI and gun laws will all be on the table as the legislature begins its 60-day session.
When the gavel falls in Tallahassee on Tuesday, it will mark the beginning of the end. After 7 years as governor, Ron DeSantis is on the way out. But before he vacates 700 North Adams Street, he and the legislature have work to do. For lawmakers, the final DeSantis session comes as the state is facing significant headwinds. Despite a budget surplus, state economists are projecting multi-billion-dollar deficits starting in 2027, something Senate President Ben Albritton says lawmakers are keenly aware of.
Floridians expect us to even not just take a look at the affordability challenges and see where it is that Florida government can be energized and engaged in that fight with them, but I think they expect us to build a balanced budget.
While the budget is the only thing lawmakers have to do, they also plan to push forward with deep cuts to property taxes, something that would hit local governments especially hard. But beyond the dollars and cents is a host of other issues. Regulation of AI, lowering the age to buy a rifle, and stricter crackdowns on immigration have all been teed up by lawmakers. As too has education, with schools across the state asking for changes to the state's voucher system.
I want it to be that the Senate took Floridians and what their needs and challenges were seriously. And I believe that is the case. I believe that's what we did last year, and I certainly look forward to doing the same this year.
Again, the session begins tomorrow. The governor has also called for a special session this spring to take up mid-cycle congressional redistricting.
Another thing lawmakers will talk about in Tallahassee: school attendance. Chronic absence disproportionately affects children from low-income families and communities of color, which can lead to achievement gaps. Truancy is a big issue across Central Florida. 6 counties, Flagler, Lake, Marion, Orange, Osceola, Volusia, are all above the state average for students missing 21 or more days. To intervene early, legislators are considering school attendance bills to create a mandatory alert system requiring districts to alert parents when students hit truancy levels.
It's very important because when it comes time for graduation, and they're like, well, why are you not graduating? Well, they missed the X amount of days, so I think they should be alerted about that.
The Florida State Board of Education would be required to adopt a statewide attendance policy, and out-of-school suspension as punishment for attendance would be prohibited. Well, you saw it live right here on WKMG. Awards season officially kicking off with the Golden Globes.
And a couple of films came up big this year.
And the winner is One Battle After Another.
One Battle After Another won 4 Golden Globes, including Best Picture, Comedy or Musical, as well as Best Director. The historical biography Hamnet also won multiple awards, including Best Picture Drama and Best Actress for star Jessie Buckley. Timothy Chalamet beat out heavyweights like Leonardo DiCaprio and George Clooney for Best Actor for his role in Marty Supreme. Earlier today, I spoke with Nichelle Turner and Kevin Frazier from Entertainment Tonight. They were on the red carpet last night. Big winner last night, One Battle After Another.
Yes.
Timothy Chalamet, what was your takeaway from the people who really won a lot last night?
Well, I would say this, one battle after another won 4 awards, and they were important awards, including the Director Award.
Yeah.
But I will
But
say...
the big snub for them, I believe, was Sean Penn.
That's
Sean
it.
Penn should be winning every single award this season. I'm not sure why he's not. He hasn't been campaigning like other people.
And he never will.
But his performance was head and shoulders above anyone else in that category, in my opinion.
It was big that Tiana Taylor won, and I think that sets her up for Oscar. But I'm going to tell you this, and I'm saying it to everybody, watch out for Hamnet. Michael B. Jordan is still in this race, and there are still things that are going to happen along the way. Oscar nominations are in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, we will know a lot more.
And you can hear more from behind the scenes at the Golden Globes coming up on Entertainment Tonight, right here on News 6 at 7 p.m.
I love watching the red carpet. It's always fascinating to see them arrive.
So many beautiful gowns last night, too.
Let's talk about J-Lo, but we don't have time. Well, a forgotten cemetery is getting a major cleanup.
This cemetery has been abandoned with no true owner since the Merchants Bank went belly up back in the Great Depression. So this is really, really huge.
More than 1,700 graves and decades of neglect will have the community's push to bring life back to this historic cemetery.
Plus, parents are now voting on a move that could reshape an elementary school for years and bring a big change to who runs it. Julie.
We are tracking big-time changes this week, starting with some rain arriving Wednesday into Thursday. Then by Friday, it will feel like the 20s when a lot of us wake up. We'll talk about just how cold it will get where you are in minutes.
And as we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
A forgotten and neglected piece of Daytona Beach history is now getting a full facelift. I'm community correspondent Jarrell Baker here in the newsroom. Now, we first told you about Pinewood Cemetery last year and showed you how it was looking unrecognizable and just fell into disrepair. But now several volunteers have rolled up their sleeves this weekend and helped restore the cemetery. Heavy machinery, volunteers, and more. Hard at work at Pinewood Cemetery Sunday, giving a forgotten historic piece of Daytona Beach history a much-needed facelift.
This cemetery has been abandoned with no true owner since the Merchants Bank went belly up back in the Great Depression. So this is really, really huge.
This is what the cemetery looked like when News 6 first told you about this back in June last year. After decades of neglect, business owners, landscapers, and volunteers are stepping up to help restore the burial site.
My history is I've been here 3 years, but I was raised here. I've seen it grow, I've seen it come back, I've seen it grow up. I want to be part of this cemetery.
Not a dollar was spent other than everybody's time here.
Tom Coffrey with the Historic Pinewood Cemetery Association says that more than 1,700 people have been buried in the 152-year-old burial site, including one of the brothers from the Muriel McCoy family, the famous rum runners during Prohibition.
We've got some of the founders of Daytona, the first police chief, the first mayor.
With the help of all the volunteers, the recently formed nonprofit is hoping to transform the site into a place worth visiting.
You know, we've cleaned up the homeless people out of here. We're bringing new life to this cemetery.
The organization is hoping to get the cemetery up and running by the 4th of July. In Daytona Beach, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
All right, meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with a look at our ever-changing forecast.
Yes.
And we are getting ready because you've been telling us it's going to cool down.
It is, and it's going to stay cool for a little stretch for us. So typically we'll just see a cool morning or two. Looks like we are going to be talking about temperatures dropping into the 30s, even into next week. So here's what we can expect as we head through the overnight hours tonight. We're actually going to be milder than normal. Then tomorrow we'll be right in the low 70s, which is near average. But our changes really begin for us by Wednesday into Thursday. Along with that, our rain chances go up to around 40 to 50%. We desperately need to get some rain in here, so really any rain will be beneficial for us. And then behind that rain, when you wake up Friday morning, most of us will be in the 30s, but when you step out the door, it will feel like the 20s. So go ahead and start planning your winter attire for later this week. We'll go to 36 in Orlando, 36 for your low in Leesburg. Ocala, you'll drop to 30. Make sure you download our free News 6 weather app. That way you can track just how cold it will be in your neighborhood Friday morning. And then when we factor in the winds, because we are talking about the potential of breezy conditions just about everywhere, it will feel like the 20s, including 25 is how it will feel in the Villages. It will feel like 26 in Daytona Beach, and 29 is how it will feel in Melbourne. Now today, it probably felt pretty cool to you when you stepped outside this morning, but actually most of us were right in the normal range in the upper 40s and low 50s. Our launch credit union camera out there at Cape Canaveral showing a mix of sun and clouds. Right now, we are sitting at 69 degrees, but it is on the breezy side. We had that front go through yesterday. Behind that, we're seeing pretty gusty conditions, winds coming from the north, sustained at 13 miles per hour, and we have seen some higher gusts. Right now in New Smyrna Beach, your winds are gusting up to around 29 miles per hour, and in Sanford and DeLand, you are seeing 18 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, that front definitely did cool us down. If you'll recall, on Friday, we actually tied some records and went well into the 80s. Right now, you're sitting at 60 in Mount Dora, 60 in Mascot, you're at 65 right now in Webster. Take you up to Reddick, you're at 58 degrees, 56 in Salt Springs, and it is 60 right now in Port Orange. Micco, you're checking at 71, and it is 70 degrees in Hullapa. Now here is your hour-by-hour forecast, and just, you know, if you think you're cool, and then you see this guy, he's got the sunglasses, he has a tennis ball.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Levi, and he is celebrating his 8th birthday, so I guess that probably makes him, what, 2nd grade, so hopefully he's having a great day. We'll keep it in the low 60s as we head through the evening hours, and make sure you go to clickorlando.com/pins to share your pet photos with us. Now, taking you Wednesday into Thursday, we're tracking a front that will move through. That will bring with it the chance of some showers. We're not talking about drought-busting rain, but again, on average, this is what we can expect by Friday. Picking up, you know, any rainfall is beneficial. Orlando picking up potentially about 3/10 of an inch of rain as these showers come through. And then the big cool down Friday morning. For tonight, we keep it pretty mild, 55 in Orlando, and you go to 46 in Ocala. Your 7-day forecast bringing that 40 to 50% chance of rain to the picture Wednesday into Thursday, and then we keep it in the 30s Friday morning, Saturday morning, and even into Monday morning.
All right, Julie, thank you. A high-stakes vote is underway at a Central Florida elementary school.
It could stay as a traditional campus or transition to a new K-8 model. What it could mean for enrollment and your kids, that's next as we take a live look at Mount Dora. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the morning, another school district cracking down on e-bikes.
The new rule up for a vote, all designed to keep kids safe.
Plus the push to stop another toll road.
We'll see you on News 6 Morning starting at 6.
Parents in one Orlando neighborhood are making a decision that could change a school campus for years.
Voting started today at Orange Center Elementary. Families are deciding whether the school stays a traditional public elementary school or converts to a charter-operated K-8 school. The change could add about 300 students and bring middle school grades to the campus. The school district sent ballots to parents last week. Community nonprofit Lift Orlando would partner with Orange County Public Schools if the measure passes.
Some parents speak like me. They had previous experience. They love the change that has been made and they want to see more. But then you do have the parents, wondering if this is the best fit.
Voting results are expected next week on January 22nd. Over the past few years, we've seen a lot of people move to the Sunshine State.
Yeah, but according to a new study, there is one community that is better than the rest. U.S. News and World Report took a look at quality of life, cost of living, crime rates, and the job market to come up with this list. Statewide, the top-ranked city in Florida is Parkland. Here in Central Florida, the top spot is Alafaya in Orange County. Other local favorites made the top 10 too. Ormond Beach is at number 7, and the Villages made it to the 9th spot. We posted the list of 50 cities, Florida cities, on our website. Just search for this story on clickorlando.com.
Some good news for drivers. Prices at the gas pump are going down. The latest numbers from AAA show the current state average at $2.67 a gallon. That is down 14 cents in just the last week. In fact, it is the lowest daily average since March of 2021. Oil prices were up a bit, though, to close the week. It is not known yet just how big of an impact that will have at the pumps.
News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, a third school lockdown in less than a week has safety front and center for Central Florida parents. Now we're hearing from concerned parents.
I don't know how I feel about letting her come to school, honestly.
So what we now know about today's incident at Lake Mineola High School, plus the city of Orlando taking another step forward for the permanent memorial of the Pulse nightclub site. We're going to look at the progress being made and a timeline of when this thing could finally be finished. And your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this great look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. We'll be right back.
Now on News 6 at 5, a third school in the last week put on alert because of a threat.
My initial thought was, if I hear or see anything, I'm going to take action.
What we're now learning about a bomb threat at Lake Mineola High School. Plus, City of Orlando leaders are taking another step toward a memorial for the Pulse victims. We'll take a look at what took so long to get to this point, and
I do see people speeding mostly on 1792. I come that way daily.
Coming up at 5:30, the work being done in Seminole County to limit excessive speeding in Sanford. You're watching News 6 at 5.
It was an alarming day for students and their families at Lake Mineola High School.
The school on lockdown most of the day following a bomb threat. That threat later deemed not credible. News 6's Mike Valenti has been there all day and spoke with parents as they anxiously awaited news. He joins us now live. And Mike, that lockdown was lifted right before dismissal.
Yeah, guys, that's right. Good evening. Parents were able to be reunited with their kids around dismissal time shortly before 2:30. Some of those parents had been waiting outside for answers since about 10 a.m. That's around the time that we got here. And while we were waiting outside with them, deputies from Lake County Sheriff's Office were doing a thorough sweep of the campus behind me here at Lake Mineola High School. We did have a chance to speak to two parents on camera. They each have a freshman at Lake Mineola, and we want you to hear what today was like in their own words.
I just want to hug her. I really want to put my hands on her and hold her and hug her and just be grateful that she's okay. So
I could see, the emotions are rising.
Yeah, it's hard.
Well, it was like an adrenaline rush. My heart was pounding. I went back, and my initial thought was, if I hear or see anything, I'm going to take action. So.
Is he scared right now?
Yeah, he was pretty scared. Yeah.
The world we're in now, you fear the worst. When the words active shooter came out, I feared the worst.
Oh, he was running late today, so I came to drop him off. And by the time I got home, we had gotten the notification that there was school went on lockdown. It was a code red. So, that's like the scariest one. So I turned around and came back.
I was actually in my pajamas originally. I ran out of the house.
What's your first thought when you hear the words code red?
Active shooter, and I panicked, to be honest.
I've been here since a little after 10 a.m.
What has today been like for you?
Miserable, horrible. I've cried a few times because you get a lot of mixed information. And
I told him to hide, stay safe, listen to your, administrator, and, just keep me updated.
What does tomorrow look like for you and your family?
I don't know how I feel about letting her come to school, honestly.
You just heard from parents Autumn Burton and Adal Lopez in their own words. So again, that threat deemed not credible, but out of an abundance of caution, authorities did respond and do a thorough sweep of Lake Mineola. Lockdown was lifted shortly before dismissal, as I said, and the afternoon schedule for activities, despite all the concerns surrounding today, that schedule still proceeded as normal. Today's lockdown also affected some surrounding schools because of the law enforcement presence. There were several schools, including an elementary school around here, that went on a soft lockdown, but those lockdowns were lifted well before the lockdown here at Lake Mineola was lifted. Of course, if we get any more information about the investigation into this non-credible bomb threat, we will bring you the latest on air and online on clickorlando.com. For now, we're live outside Lake Mineola High School. I'm Mike Valenti, News 6.
All right, Mike, thank you. And this does mark the third time in the last week a school has been on some kind of lockdown in Central Florida.
On Wednesday, Matanzas High School in Palm Coast was placed on hold status. The sheriff's office looked into the potential presence of modified fireworks in a car near the campus. No arrests have been made. Then on Thursday, Lake Brantley High School in Altamont Springs was put on a code red because of a tip of a possible threat. Nearby Forest City Elementary School was also under a code red until the afternoon when officials called that tip a hoax.
And one day after those, security was increased at Seminole County Public Schools, and police got several tips about a disturbing social media video you're looking at here. According to the school, that video showed a person wearing a mask, making statements about vague schools, not any specific place. Students in Central Florida have reported seeing social media videos showing a guy wearing a yellow hockey mask threatening attacks. While officials say there isn't a direct threat to Seminole County schools, parents tell News 6 this has happened before.
This is not the first time it happened. This is not the second time it happened. After yesterday, when my son came home, I was like, how many times have you hid in a closet in school for a code? And he's like, I can't even tell you, Mom. And that's my oldest, who is a senior in high school. Ask my elementary school kids, they can tell you the same as well.
The district says the FBI is now investigating the video, but it wasn't referencing any particular area. I want to stress that. You can read more about it at clickorlando.com.
A house fire in Palm Bay left a 10-year-old boy and a 74-year-old woman dead. This happened around 2:20 this morning on Janus Road Northeast, west of I-95. Palm Bay Fire Rescue tells us the house was packed full of items, and investigators believe that gave fuel to the fire, which grew quickly. Fire officials say firefighters found a woman outside the home who said the two others were trapped inside. They say the extreme fire kept firefighters from getting inside. The woman and the 10-year-old boy named Noah died.
This has got a lot of layers to it, unfortunately. From a boots on the ground, first responder aspect of it, it's very, very difficult for them to want to do their job. And unfortunately, they just weren't able to do that.
The cause of that fire is still under investigation. Today, the city of Orlando advanced its plans for the permanent memorial at the Pulse nightclub site.
City Council approved an important part of the state's almost $400,000 grant for a memorial. It's a process 10 years in the making now. Your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, joins us live from the site. So, Tylisa, you spoke to people who are most affected by this delay.
That's exactly right, Matt. For the last decade, it's been incredibly painful for those victims and family members of the victims that I spoke with. They say even seeing this building still here is a painful reminder, making it a difficult chapter to even try to close. However, today's vote, one step closer towards that healing process. However, some are still skeptical. It's a process at Post that's now been 10 years in the making.
All in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye.
On Monday, the Orlando City Council approved a restrictive covenant agreement for a nearly $400,000 state grant for the Post Memorial site. The agreement prevents the city from selling, transferring, mortgaging, or assigning the property without state approval. The site marks the location of the 2016 mass shooting at the LGBTQ nightclub where 49 people were killed.
It's fine. It's going to be 10 years this year, 10 years. And we're still on the same page. We still don't have no memorial.
After seeing years of little be done, it's a welcome process for some survivors and family members like Lolly Santiago Leon, whose cousin Luis Daniel Wilson Leon died.
It's a form of patience. It is definitely very difficult. But I'm happy to see in my heart, it's a healing. It's a form of healing.
For Christine Leinonen, who lost her son, Drew, in the shooting, she disagrees with the city's plans.
They're not memorializing the reality of the trauma. They're trying to, whitewash it, pretty it up. They're trying to make something horrific into something touristic.
For Joshua Hernandez Carrion, who was shot during the attack and is living in Puerto Rico, he wants each life to be remembered.
I want to have the memorial. I wanna finish this chapter of my life because I want to keep with my life. I don't want to keep being in 20 years talking the same thing.
All right, so the artifacts from Post, some of them were taken out last month and stored. And again, this is all that construction for the memorial, estimated to cost nearly $12 million. And it's slated to begin construction sometime next year. Everyone that you saw in that story, all of them live outside of Orlando, but willing to drop everything and talk to us today because they said this is an important topic and they want this to be discussed. Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton.
Tylisa, thank you. It was a chilly start to your work week today, and by the end of the week, it could be even chillier.
Yeah, much actually. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is joining us now with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're talking coldest air of the season potential on this one coming down. Here's the outlook for the 18th to the 22nd of January, and the dark blue pretty much all over the Florida Peninsula and the southeast corner of the United States for that matter, indicating the high confidence that the Arctic is pretty much going to open up and really focus itself on the eastern third of the country. So here we go. Nice and cool out there right now. It is comfortably cool out there. 60 degrees in Mount Dora after the chilly start. Kissimmee, we are at 65. Titusville, we are at 68 degrees. It'll be a little warmer when you wake up tomorrow, not falling as far as what we did this morning. Air temperatures overnight dipping back into the upper 40s and lower 50s. That chill arrives in the middle to latter stages of this upcoming work week as a big cold front slides through. We're going to have the latest timeline on that front. That also increases our rain chances for the first time in a while, coming up at about 5:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, President Trump says he's weighing potential military options against Iran as the government there tries to stop demonstrations.
Days of nationwide protests have led to a violent crackdown. CBS's Erica Brown reports from the White House.
Tens of thousands of people continue to take to the streets with daily demonstrations in Iran, chanting death to the dictator and openly calling for an end to the Islamic Republic. An independent human rights group says government forces have killed hundreds of protesters and arrested more than 10,000.
This is an opportunity to liberate that nation.
Iran's exiled crown prince has been calling for Iranians to rise up against the Islamic government and for the U.S. to help free the country.
To help a nation that starves for liberty, that starts to be rejoined with the free world, and to have the same relationship that we had with America before this revolution occurred.
President Trump has threatened military action if Iran continues to kill protesters. And a U.S. official tells CBS News the president has been briefed on options for military strikes inside the country.
We're looking at it very seriously. The military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options.
Iran's foreign minister says his country is ready for war if the U.S. takes military action.
What you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite differently from the messages the administration is receiving privately, and I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages.
A source with knowledge of talks between the two countries confirms to CBS News that Iran's foreign minister has reached out to U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff about a meeting. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Another successful launch on the Space Coast this afternoon. Looking good there. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket launched out of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station just before 4:10. We brought it to you live just about an hour ago. It sent another 29 Starlink satellites into Earth's low orbit. SpaceX says this is the 25th flight for the first stage booster supporting this mission. After separation, the first stage landed on the Just Read the Instructions drone ship. I think it's the best name that they have. That was stationed out there in the Atlantic. Lake County school leaders are looking at the future of Eustis Elementary.
Plans are set to give the century-old school new life. Next at 5, we'll look at the improvements and when work could begin.
Plus, we're used to seeing some controversial moments in the NFL playoffs on the field, but coming up, we want to hear from you about a viral post-game press conference. It happened right after the Jags game.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Tonight, the Lake County School Board will once again discuss rebuilding Eustis Elementary.
The 100-year-old school is special to the community, and plans to give it new life are set to push that forward. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez is in Eustis with more.
For that to happen here in our own community is fantastic.
Brianna Phil hopes to see Eustis Elementary shine bright once again.
I think it's long overdue. This neighborhood absolutely needs something upgraded and new for these kids here in Eustis.
The school, over a century old, is set to be rebuilt soon. The Lake County School Board voted last fall to reconstruct and expand the school. Renderings of a remodeled Eustis Elementary maintain its historic charm, like the iconic arches and front porch.
I love that Eustis really makes that a priority. Having that historical significance, even if it's just the architecture, it's important.
Keeping the school in the same location was also a big priority.
That was one of the first things that we heard from that community, was how much this really is the heart of this area and how much they have embraced it, honestly, over the 100 years.
There's several upgrades planned, from new buildings to in-classroom bathrooms and new technology. The design phase is underway, and Monday night, 3 agenda items will focus on this part of the project, with the initial plan creating enough room for 650 students, but leaving space for future expansion to accommodate up to 750. While construction is happening, students will be moved to the Kurt Wright Center for the start of school in 2027. They'll stay there until August 2029, when they can return to the brand new Eustis Elementary School. In Lake County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Well, the weather this week will look like something out of your favorite theme park.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas is breaking down the roller coaster temps we are seeing this week.
Yeah, and we have a short fuse little cold down right now. We woke up to that this morning. A nice rebound today with the sunshine anyway. Cool right now. Certainly if you're out this evening, may want a jacket. We're in the upper 50s in Ocala, the Villages. Good evening. We are at 58. Kissimmee, we are at 65 degrees, pushing 70 in Titusville. Very nice along the Space Coast this evening, right at 70 degrees for us in Melbourne going forward. Now, tomorrow morning, we are back into the mid-50s in Mount Dora, so certainly not as chilly. A couple of notches even above where we should be for this time of the year. 46 in Ocala, Denellen, we are at 44 degrees. High temperatures tomorrow, rebounding back into the lower 70s for us in Orlando. Mount Dora, we're at 71. That's right where we should be for this time of the year. So a nice quick turnaround again in the temperature department. That rain chance you see right here, that's going to come late into the evening, and that is going to be out ahead of a very, very strong cold front that's going to change things up just a little bit. So here is our cold front from this morning. It's pushing out towards Bermuda and then back down towards the Bahamas. That cooler air certainly filtering in last night and when we woke up this morning as expected. High pressure now dominating the southeast corner of the United States. Right here coming out of the Hudson Bay. See that cold front? That's the big one. That's the one with the bite to it, and that one arrives Wednesday into Thursday. And by the time we wake up on Friday morning, I think the coldest air of the season is going to be settling in. And then we even have another one on top of that for the start of next work week. So we're going to get back into the winter pattern real fast here. 7 to 8 o'clock on your Wednesday. We're fast forwarding to the arrival of the front. That's when we'll see the opportunity for some scattered showers, maybe a rogue rumble of thunder, but we shouldn't have too much fanfare with this one. Once we get towards 9, 10 o'clock on Thursday, a secondary push of moisture coming through as the front itself makes a run for Central Florida. Now, as we get into Friday morning, stopping the timer here at 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday, you see all the clouds out of the Florida Peninsula, big chunk of high pressure overhead. And that is when we wake up to some really cold air, rivaling the coldest air we've seen so far this season. Now, this is going to be on Friday morning, so we're fast forwarding out to the end of this work week. Averages are in the upper 40s. That'll put us into the low to mid 30s in Orlando, mid to upper 20s for us in Denellen, back to Ocala, the Villages, into Bushnell as well. 34 in Daytona Beach. We're back to the lower 30s in Palm Coast. So it is going to be pretty chilly over the next couple of days. Now, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
So tomorrow, again, back to where we should be, back to the lower 70s. As we get into Wednesday, rain chances start to go up a little bit. We'll see extra clouds. That's the reason why we are cooler. That front arrives on Thursday. High temperature is going to struggle to get back out of the 50s. And then here comes the real big-time chill. We're back to the mid-30s again on Friday, staying in the 30s when you wake up on Saturday morning. And you see it right there. There's really no big warm-up coming this time around. We're going to get a secondary shot of colder air by the start of next work week. Temperatures getting back only into the low 60s for highs on Monday, guys.
Ooh, there is a chill coming. All right, thank you, Jonathan. Well, a week from today, a new champion will be crowned in college football.
We now know who will be playing for the national title. Coming up, we'll take a look at the game and the long drought that Indiana and Miami are hoping to end on the national stage. The Jacksonville Jags season comes to an end after a 27-24 loss to the Buffalo Bills yesterday in round one of the playoffs.
Yeah, the NFL is no stranger to controversy during playoffs on the field, but this year there's a little debate over a post-game interview with the Jags head coach Liam Cohen. Was it appropriate is the question. Take a listen.
I just want to tell you, congratulations on your success, young man.
Thank you.
You hold your head up, all right? You guys have had a most magnificent season.
Thank
you. And you did a great job out there today.
Appreciate
so you
it.
just hold your head up, okay?
Thank
and
you,
ladies
ma'am.
and gentlemen, Duval, you the one, all
Thank
right?
you, ma'am.
keep it going. We got another season, okay?
I appreciate
Take
it.
care and much continued success to you and the entire team.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, you can see here Cohen smiling as
Right.
the reporter's offering some encouraging words for the first year head coach who makes somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 million.
That doesn't matter. That
It
was
doesn't?
nice. No, this story, it doesn't matter how much he makes. This story sparked a lot of debate in our newsroom today, and it became the topic of our poll for the day. Do you think a reporter's encouraging exchange with the Jags head coach was appropriate? So far, most people say yes, they are fine with it, 84%. And we want to know what you think. You can take this poll at clickorlando.com/react or go to our News 6 Facebook page. He had already been asked several other questions at that point in the press conference.
In a press conference,
what are you going to say?
As a journalist, you ask questions, right?
That's right.
You don't just make statements?
Their season is over. I think that is the statement.
Here's my question. I just think you're wonderful. Okay. Here's a look
Thank
at the
you. Was
rest
that
of
for
the
me?
playoff. That is for you, yes. The Buffalo Bills will head to Denver to play the Broncos Saturday. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots will wait for the winner of tonight's Steelers-Texans game to see who will head to Foxborough Sunday. The Seahawks, who look really good, they're going to take on the 49ers Saturday, and the Bears go against the Rams on Sunday. Man, these games have been so good. I know they've been watching them at your house. We don't know the times yet for these games, but those will arrive soon, I'm sure. Meanwhile, the stage is set for the college football national championship.
Can you wait? In exactly 1 week, a new program will be crowned in Miami. The Miami Hurricanes will be taking on the #1 seed Indiana Hoosiers at Hard Rock Stadium. Kickoff is at 7:30. And the Canes got a big win on Thursday against the Ole Miss Rebels to secure a spot in the national title game, thanks to a late fourth quarter touchdown run by quarterback Carson Beck. Then on Friday, Indiana dominated the Oregon Ducks in Georgia, winning 56-22. Indiana is hoping for its first ever football national championship. Miami has not won a football title in football since 2001.
Definitely the two best teams are in that championship. Leaders in Port Orange are heading back to the drawing board in search for a developer to bring the city's Riverwalk to life.
We are now learning the original developer has walked away from the project. Coming up, what this means for the future of the project is it could look a little different than what we've seen before.
Soon, more officers will be running radar here in Sanford. We're looking into how the city plans to spend thousands of dollars on enforcement and what difference it could make.
We are following several top stories right now.
Yeah, a bomb threat prompted a lockdown at several Lake County schools this morning, with Lake Mineola High School at the center of it all.
The lockdown ended this afternoon after Lake County Sheriff's deputies canvassed the campus. Lake County Schools says an anonymous caller made the bomb threat against the school, but says there was no reason to believe it was a credible threat. This is the third threat made to Central Florida schools in a week.
A house fire in Palm Bay has left a 10-year-old boy and an elderly woman dead. This happened around 2:20 this morning on Janus Road Northeast, west of I-95. Palm Bay Fire Rescue says firefighters found a woman outside the home who the two others were trapped inside. Unfortunately, fire officials say they just couldn't get to them in time as that house was largely consumed by fire.
The Orlando City Commission just voted on advancing the permanent Pulse Memorial. It is a long-awaited step for a project nearly a decade in the making. The memorial will honor the 49 lives lost during the 2016 mass shooting at the Pulse nightclub in downtown Orlando. Crews recently removed artifacts from inside the nightclub so the city can demolish the building.
Well, does Sanford have a speeding problem? News 6 is learning the problem is serious enough. The city has been awarded thousands of dollars from FDOT in an effort to try to reduce the number of crashes caused by speeding or aggressive drivers. Your Seminole County community correspondent, Catherine Silver, is live at the police department for us this evening. Catherine?
Sanford police will be asked to look at the area where the most crashes are happening on a bi-weekly basis, and those are the locations where they will likely focus these enforcement efforts.
I do see people speeding mostly on 1792.
Drivers say Sanford has a need for speed enforcement, and the state has taken notice. Soon they'll be spending thousands of dollars in grant money, hoping to decrease the number of speed-related crashes in a city where FDOT says it's needed. Documents included in the agenda for Monday's commission meeting show Sanford ranks in the top 40% for serious injuries or fatalities related to speed and aggressive driving in the last 3 years.
Just the other day by the zoo, some guy jumped around about and all, just sped by and just kept on going. And I had my kids in the car with me, so yeah.
Drivers we met Monday say it's a problem. Is it getting worse, the speeding?
Yes.
Kathy Slater has spent over 20 years on our roads driving school buses.
The stop arms don't make a difference. They'll keep right going. The kids are crossing over. Sometimes I have to hold the kids on the bus until the traffic slows down.
FDOT has awarded the city $30,000 to use on enforcement from now until September. They'll use that money to buy more equipment so more officers here have the tech they use to run radar and for overtime. In 2023, this report shows a similar grant given to the Seminole County Sheriff's Office led to 69 enforcement operations and 315 speeding citations. They targeted speeding on the interstate.
I think something needs to be regulated. I see police down there, but I would like to see more activity down there as well.
We also looked into the impact that similar efforts have had in places like Orlando. That same report that we showed you shows that Orlando police used over 1,000 overtime hours, and they were able to reduce the number of crashes involving serious injuries or deaths by roughly 30% compared to the 3-year average. I'm live in Sanford. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. Developing tonight, Marion County deputies releasing video of a high-speed motorcycle chase ending with a man behind bars.
It looked like he was reaching for the gun to turn around and point it at me, but he ended up tossing it on.
Deputies arrested 46-year-old Terry Fisher after they say he sped off from a traffic stop on Wednesday. They say he was weaving around construction cones when they tried to pull him over. During the chase, Fisher allegedly tossed methamphetamine, cocaine, and a firearm from his motorcycle. A second deputy joined the pursuit, and canine units helped bring it to an end. Fisher is in custody on several charges, including fleeing and eluding and possession of a firearm as a convicted felon.
In Apopka, a two-car crash sends a police officer to the hospital. It happened last night around 11:45 at the intersection of Clarkona Road and Cleveland Street, just southeast of Phyllis Wheatley Elementary School. Apopka police say the officer went to the hospital as a precaution. FHP says the driver of a Hyundai Genesis, a 19-year-old man, did not go to the hospital, stayed at the scene. We're still waiting to find out what led up to the crash. We'll let you know when we learn more.
Port Orange city leaders are back at the drawing board this week, opening their search for a new developer to bring their Riverwalk dream to life. The highly anticipated project was meant to turn this area into a buzzing spot with shops, apartments, and entertainment. But the original developer just walked away. Now, as your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed reports, residents will have to wait a little longer before they see any real progress.
The city is kicking off the search for a new developer this week, opening the bidding process for anybody who would like to step up. Now, whoever lands the project will get this 10-acre property here just north of the Dunlawton Bridge. It's a place where the city for years has envisioned an entertainment hub with shops, restaurant, a place for people just to walk around, and even apartment homes for people to live. But with the latest deal falling through, a developer's vision is now still up in the air.
Attraction is the location, is the views, and I think it's probably the best in Volusia County.
Paul Hartley opened his coffee shop here and is holding food truck events to help generate momentum to the area. While disappointed the last developer pulled out, he hopes his work here will show a new one why building a Riverwalk district here would be worth it.
If you look at any examples or Riverwalks or city center type things that are, 125,000 people or less, there's a lot of ideas.
And new ideas are something the city is now looking for from a new company. These renderings we've showed you before went away with the old developer the city hired about 4 years ago. The original plan would have been an almost $200 million investment into the city. The city says the last developer missed its deadline in 2025 to submit site plans.
Whoever wants to come in, they're going to be submitting their proposals, their designs for it.
Mike Springer with the city says Port Orange also now owns the full 10 acres. So the new developer would only have to deal with one landowner. He says interest rates likely had a big role in the previous developer pulling out.
And as we're looking at the economy hopefully improving, we're starting to see interest rates drop, construction supplies hopefully start to stabilize. That could put us in a really position going forward to find the right person to come in and develop the property.
Once the city opens it up for advertising this week and gets a new developer, then a new timeline will be created on when we can finally see some construction start here. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Pass a budget. That is the only job Florida lawmakers have to do, yet starting tomorrow. Everything from what your kids learn to what you pay in taxes to AI and gun laws will all be on the table as the legislature begins its 60-day session. When the gavel falls in Tallahassee on Tuesday, it will mark the beginning of the end. After 7 years as governor, Ron DeSantis is on the way out. But before he vacates 700 North Adams Street, he and the legislature have work to do. For lawmakers, the final DeSantis session comes as the state is facing significant headwinds. Despite a budget surplus, state economists are projecting multi-billion-dollar deficits starting in 2027, something Senate President Ben Albritton says lawmakers are keenly aware of.
Floridians expect us to even not just take a look at the affordability challenges and see where it is that Florida government can be energized and engaged in that fight with them, but I think they expect us to build a balanced budget.
While the budget is the only thing lawmakers have to do, they also plan to push forward with deep cuts to property taxes, something that would hit local governments especially hard. But beyond the dollars and cents is a host of other issues. Regulation of AI, lowering the age to buy a rifle, and stricter crackdowns on immigration have all been teed up by lawmakers. As too has education, with schools across the state asking for changes to the state's voucher system.
I want it to be that the Senate took Floridians and what their needs and challenges were seriously. And I believe that is the case. I believe that's what we did last year, and I certainly look forward to doing the same this year.
The city of Orlando is welcoming its new leaders into the council chambers. A swearing-in ceremony took place this morning for commissioners representing Districts 1, 3, and 5. District 1 is now represented by Commissioner Tom Keene. District 3 by Roger Chapin, and Commissioner Shan Rose will represent the District 5 seat. Commissioners Keene and Rose won their race in the November election, while Commissioner Chapin won his district in a runoff that happened in December. Another candidate for the crowded Republican field in the race for governor has tossed his hat into the ring. Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins has officially announced he is running for that seat. Collins confirmed his run from a post on X. Just in August of last year, Governor Ron DeSantis appointed Collins as the new lieutenant governor after that seat remained vacant for 6 months. Other major candidates running for governor next year include former House Speaker Paul Renner, Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who already has an endorsement from President Trump, former Congressman David Jolly, who is now running as a Democrat, and Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings. He is also a Democrat. We all know Florida is an amazing state to live in. With that, we're seeing more and more people move to our beautiful state.
That's right. A new study is showing which part of Florida might be a top choice. Coming up, we're looking at the list of cities and telling you which was the top spot in Central Florida. Jonathan.
If they moved here for the warmth, they might not like the forecast over the next week. Big time blasts of Arctic air arrives by the end of this work week, likely rivaling, if not even exceeding, the coldest air we've felt so far this season. We're going to break that part of your forecast down coming up at about 5:47.
And there's a change in place that could affect your mail, how you can make sure you don't accidentally send your important mail too late.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
A heads up, if you still pay bills or send important paperwork through the mail, a new post office rule that took effect on December 24th changes when your mail gets postmarked, and that date can be the difference between on time and late.
Instead of being stamped when you first drop it off, mail can now be postmarked when it reaches a sorting facility. Alex Cook is in Kissimmee with what this means for your mail and the people most at risk of getting caught in the delay.
This box is where the clock starts for a lot of people. You take your important mail like a tax return or a bill to pay, you send it out, and you expect it to be postmarked the same day you dropped it off. But now, the date on your envelope might actually be later than when you dropped it off. That's because of the U.S. Postal Service's new rule that says they will postmark mail once it reaches the sorting facility, not when you first drop it off. Some people are worried that this could mean things like missed deadlines and late bills, even though they've dropped their mail off on time. Kathy Clark is used to frustrations with her mail.
I had a package delivered or thought it was delivered.
When I told her the new postmark rules, she worried about people trying to pay their bills on time.
There are many people, even those remaining older than me, that use mail all the time. So I think it's a huge concern.
Before, as long as they got their payment in the mail by its due date, it was paid on time. Now that the rules changed and the mail may be dated a day or two later, that same payment could be marked as late. Clark remembers how concerned her mother was about postmark dates.
Would go down and pay her bill at KUA directly. You know, she wouldn't even mail it because she was concerned about turnover time. So yeah, that's a huge concern.
Another huge concern is mail-in voting. But the new post office rule isn't likely to affect elections in Florida, because here, only ballots the Supervisor of Elections office has in hand by 7 p.m. on Election Day are counted. The postmark doesn't matter. There are rare exceptions, though. The Eola County Supervisor of Elections says the only ballots that can be accepted after Election Day and may be impacted by any changes with postmarks are overseas ballots.
It's one more problem in that domino of mail-in voting that is already problematic.
Same for tax returns. Drop it off just before midnight on April 15th, and it's likely to be stamped the next day and considered late. The takeaway? Mail early. Because under the new rule, the date that counts could be a day or two after you hit the mailbox. In Kissimmee, Alex Cook, News 6.
All right, I know when you woke up this morning, you probably said to yourself, wow, it's really cold. But it was actually closer to normal.
We're just not used to normal anymore.
Yeah, we're not used to the new normal here, Jonathan Case.
Just wait until you get to the end of this 7-day forecast. There's a big chill coming, likely rivaling, maybe exceeding the coldest air we've seen so far this season. Right now, it's not doing too bad out there. We're in the low 60s. Jacksonville's in the lower 50s. Some of that chill is still hanging out there, but it is going to be a little warmer tomorrow. We are back to closer to where we should be for this time of the year. If you peeked ahead to the forecast, you can do that by downloading the free News 6 weather app. You can always stay up to date with the forecast. Then you know it's going to be cold. I want to show you something cool if you're not looking at your TV screen right now. So what I have for you here is something called the backwards trajectory model. You take it out to the date you want and then run it back. You can find where the air mass is coming from. So these are the current temperatures right now. We're back to 61 in a lot of Central Florida, 61 at the Orlando International Airport. Follow this red line back, go around the Hudson Bay and then hanging up towards the Arctic Circle. That is where our next air mass is coming from. So this is going to be a pure Arctic air mass sliding through. Actual air temperatures right now are 20 to 25 degrees below zero. Of course, it is going to modify. We are not seeing that here, but as it dips south, again, that's going to be the source region for the cold air that is going to blast in Thursday into Friday, again, coming straight from the Arctic Circle as we go forward over the next couple of days. Really, as we get into Wednesday, especially Thursday, by the time you wake up on Friday. Temperature anomaly map here, the darker the blue and into the purple. That's where we're going to be way below normal. And again, we're going to be running about 15 to 20 degrees below normal. That's going to be on Friday into the start of your weekend. But then as we get into Sunday to Monday, a third cold front comes through and kind of reinforces the chill. You do see some orange building by the third week of January. That's the January 22nd there. We get back in on some of the warmth sliding across the deep south. But it is going to be chilly over the next couple of mornings. This is for Apopka, for example. Lower 50s tomorrow, pretty much right where we should be. Back to the upper 50s on Wednesday. We're doing all right on Thursday as well. And then the bottom falls out. There is Friday morning right around the freezing mark. We're back to the upper 30s, still really cold on Saturday morning, chilly on Sunday. And then there's another blast of colder air again, all coming from the same place. We could even be colder as we get into early next work week. So again, this is going to be an extended stretch of colder air, no doubt the longest stretch of the colder air we've seen so far this season. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our Launch Credit Union camera. Air temperatures right now in the low 60s. We have some sunshine out there. Also, you can clearly see the clouds. The breeze out of the north, of course, at about 10 miles an hour, helping to pump in some of that warmth. There is our front from this morning. It's way back into the Atlantic Ocean. Again, we still have a few clouds hanging around, but otherwise, we're doing pretty good. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
So again, all that stuff I showed you before, that arrives Thursday into Friday. Tomorrow, you might want the light jacket or the hoodie if you're up early, but we are going to be doing about 10 degrees warmer than where we were today, 40s and 50s across the board. High temperatures tomorrow getting back into the lower 70s. That rain chance, that would come late, and that's way out ahead of our big-time blast of cold that sends us back down into the 30s and likely 20s on the map. So there we go on Wednesday, 67 degrees. That rain chance is out ahead of our front. The better opportunity for rain comes on Thursday as the front itself comes through. There's the chill, guys. 20s and 30s Friday morning. Highs will struggle to get out of the 50s. We keep our sunshine, though, and then there's that secondary push of cold air by the time we get into Monday.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, over the past few years, we've seen a lot of people move to the Sunshine State.
But according to a new study, there is one community that's better than the rest. U.S. News and World Report took a look at the quality of life, cost of living, crime rate, and the job market to come up with this list. Statewide, the top ranked city in Florida is Parkland. Here in Central Florida, the top spot is Alafaya in Orange County. Other local favorites made the top 10 as well, including Ormond Beach at number 7, and the Villages made it to the 9th spot. We posted the list of 50 Florida cities on our website. Just search for this story on clickorlando.com.
The Alafaya area over the east side of Orange County. Well, the state is looking to crack down on students skipping school.
Coming up, what some newly proposed laws would do to get kids back in the classroom.
Coming up in the morning, another school district cracking down on e-bikes.
The new rule up for a vote, all designed to keep kids safe.
Plus the push to stop another toll road.
We'll see you on News 6 Morning starting at 6.
Here in Florida, children between 6 and 16 are required to go to school, and if they aren't consistent, truancy can lead to things like substance abuse, social isolation, and educational failure. Truancy is a big issue across Central Florida, where 6 counties, Flagler, Lake, Marion, Orange, Osceola, Volusia, are all above the state average for students missing 21 or more days. To intervene early, legislators are considering school attendance bills to create a mandatory alert system requiring districts to alert parents when students hit truancy levels.
It's very important because when it comes time for graduation and they're like, well, why are you not graduating? Well,
they missed the X amount of days. So I think they should be alerted about that.
It would mandate that teachers report students with more than 5 unexcused absences in a month or 10 in 90 days, or if a student misses 10% of school in the first 45 days. The Florida State Board of Education would be required to adopt a statewide attendance policy, and out-of-school suspension as punishment for attendance would be prohibited.
I think it would be better than just suspending them, because when you suspend them, they don't want to come to school no more. Like, what's the purpose at that point?
Central Florida mom Fatima Malone would prefer to see in-school suspension be the norm, including on weekends, to discourage absences.
Because I know I had to do it like once or twice on Saturday, and I didn't like it.
So this is about shifting the focus from punishment to intervention to try to improve student outcomes. Reporting in Lake County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Ginger Gadsden is in the newsroom with what we are working on for News 6 at 6.
Lisa and Matt, fake threats at Central Florida schools having real impacts on families.
I don't know how I feel about letting her come to school, honestly.
The latest bogus threat and the serious consequences for making one.
Results after a News 6 investigation. Last November, we told you about an Apopka family who lost tens of thousands of dollars after a roofing company cashed their insurance check but never replaced their roof. Now, another company saw that report and is replacing the family's roof at no charge. I'm investigator Lewis Bold, and we'll have the story next.
Now at 6, students in hiding.
Is he scared right now? Yeah, he was pretty scared, yeah.
Parents on edge.
I really want to put my hands on her and hold her and hug her and just be grateful that she's okay.
The community recovering from a bogus threat. Plus, a home gutted by fire is a constant reminder of the lives lost inside. A closer look at what may have helped fuel the flames. And a local business is replacing a family's roof after another company disappeared with their insurance check. You're watching News 6 at 6. We begin tonight with a live look over downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. Today was chilly, but the coldest air of the season hasn't even arrived yet.
Yeah, and the chilly stuff, the real chilly stuff, arrives later this week. News 6's Jonathan Kegas joins us now.
It's a big one, guys. Yeah, the biggest cold front of the season so far, and then it might even be a little colder to start next week. So these two fronts mean business. This was just a little baby front. We've got the bigger stuff coming through as we get into really Wednesday into Thursday. You'll feel the full effect of that on Friday morning, and then another one by the end of the upcoming weekend. Temperature outlook again for the 18th to the 22nd. This is not just a short-lived little cold snap either coming in our direction. No doubt the coldest and I think the longest-lived cold blast of the season as well. It's doing all right out there now. It's seasonably cool. We're back to the upper 50s in Mount Dora. Good evening in Ocala. We are at 56. Palm Bay, good evening. A nice and comfortable 68 degrees. You might want the light jacket in Palm Coast, a touch breezy as well. We're back to the upper 50s if you're heading out tonight. We're not going to drop as far as we did last night, though, so we're already starting to come back up from the little short-lived chill that we woke up to this morning and really got ourselves into starting last evening. Back to the mid-50s by 10. We're at 56 degrees by 1, and you see we're only dropping really back into the upper 40s and lower 50s. Wait till you see the 7-day forecast. There's a lot of cold on it. We're going to break that down for you guys coming up at about 6:17.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, it has been a scary start to the new year for students and parents in Central Florida. At least 3 different school districts have experienced lockdowns in the past week. Flagler and Seminole were last week, and today in Lake County, a threat to Lake Mineola High School led to the lockdown of that school and several others nearby. That threat turned out to be bogus, but how it made kids and parents feel was very real.
Yeah, News 6's Mike Valenti spoke with some of them relieved the lockdown was lifted.
Lake Mineola parents were able to be reunited with their kids around regular dismissal time, shortly before 2:30. But some of those parents had been waiting outside since about 10 a.m., around the same time that we got here. And while we were waiting outside, deputies were sweeping the campus behind me. We had a chance to speak to 2 parents from Lake Mineola. They each have a freshman at this school, and we want you to hear, in their own words, what Monday was like for them.
I just want to hug her. I really want to put my hands on her and hold her and hug her and just be grateful that she's okay.
Well, it was like an adrenaline rush. My heart was pounding. I went back, and my initial thought was, if I hear or see anything, I'm going to take action. So.
Is he scared right now?
Yeah, he was pretty scared, yeah.
The world we're in now, you fear the worst.
We had gotten the notification that there was school went on lockdown. It was a code red. So, that's like the scariest one. So I turned around and came back.
I was actually in my pajamas originally. I ran out of the house.
What's your first thought when you hear the words code red?
Active shooter, and just I panicked, to be honest.
I've been here since a little after 10 a.m.
What has today been like for you?
Miserable, horrible. I've cried a few times because you get a lot of mixed information.
You just heard from Autumn Burton and Adal Lopez in their own words. Again, the most important thing, that threat Monday deemed not credible. Kids were dismissed around the regular time, 2:20, and the afternoon schedule of activities continued as normal. Now, out of an abundance of caution, nearby schools, including elementary schools, were also put on a soft lockdown, but those lockdowns were lifted. I'm Mike Valenti, reporting outside Lake Mineola High School, News 6.
Thank you, Mike. A reminder, fake threats against schools in Florida are a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years in prison, along with a $10,000 fine. And get this, if law enforcement respond to a fake threat you made, you might have to pay restitution to law enforcement for any costs related to that response.
Tonight, a home in Palm Bay left gutted by fire is serving as a tragic reminder to neighbors of those who did not make it out of this alive. A 10-year-old boy and 74-year-old woman lost their lives early this morning. And as News 6's Jana Manahalal is asking fire officials what made these flames so difficult to put out.
When somebody that young passes away, it's just devastating.
On this Palm Bay street, neighbors are grieving for the death of 2 people, including a 10-year-old boy, and trying to process how a home they passed every day turned into a deadly inferno overnight.
So big. It was so big. Fires, and then these, people next door were, both sides worried about their house catching fire.
Early Monday morning, 911 calls came in about a house already engulfed in flames. Within minutes, Assistant Fire Chief John Rigleb's crews were on scene. When crews arrived, they tell me the entire roof of this house was completely gone, and now it sits here charred in bits and pieces scattered around the house. The damage suggests the fire may have been burning for some time before crews arrived. Palm Bay Assistant Fire Chief Ringleb walked me around the house, showing the destruction. When crews arrived, they tried to enter from multiple points of this house, the front door, the back door, the windows, but those flames were too big and too massive to be able to get into the home. They also tell me that the home had lots of collectible items, sentimental items, making it easier for the fire to attach to and grab onto and grow as fast and as quickly as it did. We're going to show you an example of that stuff we were talking about, just that has accumulated over the years now in charred bits. There are some shelving, some old home equipment, some storage items completely left demolished. For the firefighters, knowing people were trapped but unreachable is the kind of call that lingers long after the flames are out.
This has got a lot of layers to it, unfortunately. From a boots on the ground, first responder aspect of it, it's very, very difficult for them to want to do their job, and unfortunately they just weren't able to do that.
Neighbors say the 10-year-old's name was Noah, saying he was always outside, always smiling, a constant presence riding his bike up and down this street. Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Now to a major funding milestone related to the Pulse Memorial in Orlando.
So this afternoon, the City Council approved an important part of the state's almost $400,000 grant. Your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, joins us live from the Pulse site with what's next. Tylisa?
It's a process at Post that's now been 10 years in the making.
All in favor indicate so by saying aye. Aye.
On Monday, the Orlando City Council approved a restrictive covenant agreement for a nearly $400,000 state grant for the Post Memorial site. The agreement prevents the city from selling, transferring, mortgaging, or assigning the property without state approval. The site marks the location of the 2016 mass shooting at the LGBTQ nightclub where 49 people were killed.
It's fine. It's going to be 10 years this year, 10 years. And we're still on the same page. We still don't have no memorial.
After seeing years of little be done, it's a welcome process for some survivors and family members like Lolly Santiago Leon, whose cousin Luis Daniel Wilson Leon died.
It's a form of patience. It is definitely very difficult. But I'm happy to see in my heart, it's a healing. It's a form of healing.
For Christine Leinanen, who lost her son, Drew, in the shooting, she disagrees with the city's plans.
They're not memorializing the reality of the trauma. They're trying to, whitewash it, pretty it up. They're trying to make something horrific into something touristic.
For Joshua Hernandez Carrion, who was shot during the attack and is living in Puerto Rico, he wants each life to be remembered.
I want to have the memorial. I wanna finish this chapter of my life because I wanna keep with my life. I don't wanna keep being in 20 years talking the same thing.
So we know just last month that artifacts were taken out of Post for this construction that's slated to begin sometime next year. And the entire estimated cost for all of this is just nearly $12 million. And everyone that you saw in that story lives outside of Orlando, but they all wanted to talk to News 6 today because they felt like this was important. Reporting for News 6, I'm Tylisa Hampton. Back to you.
Ty, Lisa, thank you. Now at 6, some expert care, habitat cleanliness, and water quality. Swan advocates demanding change at beautiful Lake Eola tonight as more and more birds die at that park. We learned today the number of birds that have died at the park in downtown Orlando is up to 32. That's 10 more than last week. 26 are swans. The city says bird flu is the culprit here. Well, tonight, a change.org petition is gaining signatures calling for consistent on-site expert care and oversight for the swans' health and welfare. It wants the trash and debris in and around the lake to be removed more frequently, and it's calling for publicly accessible reporting of water quality testing. When it comes to bird flu, the city says people rarely get sick from it, but you should still take precautions. Leaders ask that you do not feed the birds, don't even touch the birds, and avoid all contact with their droppings.
Well, what happens when someone on the space station needs to see a doctor? Coming up, a closer look at the plans for an unprecedented splashdown, all organized in just a matter of days. Plus,
you know, there are still good people in this world.
A local company steps up for a family in need of a new roof after another company ran off with their insurance check. Investigator Lewis Bolden is checking in on the work sparked by his reporting.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
It's a weight that's been lifted off of my shoulders, an extreme weight.
results after a News 6 investigation. Last November, we told you about an Apopka family who lost tens of thousands of dollars after a roofing company cashed their insurance check but never replaced their roof. Now, another local company, 3MG Roofing and Solar, saw that story and contacted investigator Lewis Bolden, offering to replace the family's roof at no charge. Here's Lewis with the big development.
The sound of construction. The sound of shingles being ripped from the roof, making way for a new one. For Steve Coleman's family has been a long time in the making. How does that make you feel?
You know, there's still good people in this world, and, you know, 3MG, John, Danny at 3MG Roofing, they proved that when they saw the story on News 6.
The story was how the Colemans signed a contract for a roof replacement with a company called Hurricane Roofer. According to court records, Coleman's insurance company settled a claim for a new roof and issued a check for $28,000, made payable to Steve and his wife Yvette, Hurricane Roofer, and Rocket Mortgage. Coleman's insurance company confirmed Hurricane Roofer cashed the check in July of 2025, but never returned to replace the roof.
We saw a post actually on Facebook about the story and about what was going on with the Colemans.
John Hagan is a sales manager with 3MG Roofing and Solar.
I sent a text to my main two owners, said, hey, there's somebody in our community that could use some help, and are you guys down to make this happen? And without hesitation, they responded yes, and here we are.
3MG Roofing says this will be a quick job. The roof replaced, even the dumpster removed, all in 2 days. 3MG Roofing and Solar is replacing the roof at no charge to the Colemans. One owner told me because they didn't want the whole industry to get a bad rap.
We do right.
Dexter Grant is a senior project manager.
And we just want to make sure, you know, we still just go into each community, leave a good impression.
And after that initial story with Mr. Coleman, even more victims came forward with complaints about the same company.
My jaw dropped.
We saw the News 6 article with the Colemans. We're like, that is exactly what's happening to us here.
In Palm Beach County, Scott Barr and Christina Baez and their neighbor Charlie Benoit say they paid Hurricane Roofer $11,000 deposits last year. And 7 months later, no roof and no communication.
As soon as I paid him, everything changed.
The Colemans still haven't received their money, but at least now they have a new roof.
I can honestly say prayer changes things because, you know, again, 3MG showed up when it seems like, you know, all hope was lost.
News 6 called the business number for Hurricane Roofer and it has been disconnected. We tried the owner's personal cell and did not get a response. Lewis Bolden, News 6.
We are counting down to an unprecedented splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. Crew 11 is set to return to Earth this Thursday, a full month early, marking the first time a mission at the International Space Station has been cut short. Now, this is all because of a medical concern with a crew member on the ISS.
NASA won't provide any further details about that crew member other than the fact they're stable, and the 4 crew members of Crew 11, including Commanders Zena Cardman, pilot Mike Fink, as well as a Japanese astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut, are all there, and it's not an emergency. They all blasted off to the ISS back in August. Quick look at the timeline for their return. Hatch closes at 3:30 in the afternoon Wednesday. Crew will undock from the ISS about an hour and a half later. Splashdown will happen just before 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. We'll, of course, be bringing you any updates every step of the way.
Temperatures, guys, off to a cool start this morning. We'll be back into the 60s and 70s again tomorrow, a little bit warmer than we were today. It's a live look outside in Daytona Beach. Nice evening, certainly cool, but seasonably cool tonight. We're back down into the upper 50s, a few extra clouds along the coast. A breeze out of the north at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. Right now we're at 57 in DeLand. Not too bad in Leesburg. Again, you might want the light jacket if you're heading out into Winter Garden this evening. Winter Park, we're back to the low 60s. We're at 61 degrees in Orlando. Melbourne, we're checking in at 65 degrees. The big chill that we've been advertising, that arrives later in the week. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
So when you wake up tomorrow, it is going to be cool, not as cold as where we were today. We're back into the 50s. That actually puts us about 5 or so degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. That'll put us in the mid-40s in Ocala, 44 in Denell and Sanford. Good evening. We'll start our day tomorrow at 56 degrees, back into the low 70s. Should be a very nice day tomorrow. Clear skies to start. I think we'll see a few passing clouds into the afternoon. That rain chance you see there, it's going to come late into the evening. That is going to be out ahead of a very, very big cold front that slices through Wednesday into Thursday. So here's our front from last night. It's way back into Bermuda now, letting that cooler northeast wind drain into Florida. Here's the big one. It's right up by the Hudson Bay. That one is lurking, and by the time you wake up on Friday morning, you are going to feel that. So we're going to time out the front for you here. This one does have a little bit of rain to it. There's 7 to 8 o'clock on your Wednesday evening. Scattered downpours, maybe a stray rumble of thunder in the mix sliding through. I think most of us are going to go with any fanfare in terms of any strong storms or anything like that. There's 9 to 10 o'clock on your Thursday morning. The front itself is working through. So it's one of those days where the cooler air starts to blast in through the course of your afternoon and into the evening. The temperatures are likely going to fall for a good portion of your Thursday. And then there go the clear skies. High pressure settles in. That's Friday morning, and that's when it's going to get really cold, likely 20s and 30s across the board. This is going to rival, if not even exceed, the coldest air we have felt so far this season. That'll put us into the mid-30s in Orlando, right around the freezing mark in Sanford, mid to upper 20s in Marion, most of Sumter County as well, Melbourne even. We're back to the upper 30s. Palm Coast, we're at 31 again. That is on Friday morning, and then we keep the chill right on into the weekend and really beyond. So there go the increasing rain chances again, Wednesday into Thursday. That's as the front approaches on Wednesday. The front itself slices through on Thursday. Highs on Thursday only back into the lower 60s. Again, most of that high temperature gets back into the low, starting in the low 60s in the morning, and then we'll actually see us drop through most of the afternoon. 59 on Friday. That's after a start in the 30s. Another round of colder air arrives early next week, guys.
That is cold.
A little chilly.
All right, thank you. Ryan's here now with sports.
Well, the excitement is building for the Miami Hurricanes here.
Yeah, 1 week from tonight, guys, they will go for their 6th national title. Top-ranked Indiana standing in the way. We will hear from Miami coach Mario Cristobal coming up. And welcome to Germany. The Magic touchdown earlier today in anticipation of their 2-game European series. It is a homecoming for a few guys. We'll hear from one on the other side. Welcome back. 1 week from tonight, that's when college football will crown its new champion. The Miami Hurricanes looking for the program's 6th national title and first since the 01 season. They'll have to take down #1 Indiana to do so. After 3 weeks of going on the road and winning, Miami will enjoy the comforts of Hard Rock Stadium from Monday's tilt. Miami head coach Mario Cristobal knows preventing distractions will be critical.
We preach it, we teach it, and then we go and we get away from everybody, just like we did a couple weeks ago, the last couple of weeks when we went on the road. And that's where I know the process was asked about earlier. It's no different. You just got to shut out the outside world and go to work.
All right, the NFL will wrap up Wild Card weekend with the Texans and Steelers tonight in Pittsburgh. Then it is on to the divisional round. Still waiting on times and networks, but here are the 2 divisional round games for this coming Saturday. The Bills will head to Denver to face the top-seeded Broncos, and in the NFC, the top-seeded Seahawks will play host to divisional rival San Francisco. On Sunday, it'll be the Rams heading to Chicago to face the Bears at a time to be determined. And the winner of tonight's Texans-Steelers game will travel to Foxborough to face the Patriots in Sunday's other game. The Jacksonville Jaguars' playoff stay was short, but it was a heck of a game yesterday at Everbank Stadium. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 touchdown passes, but also a pair of interceptions as the Buffalo Bills eventually pulled out a 27-24 victory. All right, the Magic are in Germany, but this is no European vacation. The team touched down in Berlin in the early hours and will face the Memphis Grizzlies there on Thursday. The 2 teams will square off again Sunday in London before heading back to the States. Being in Germany, a homecoming for Tristan da Silva and the Wagner brothers, Mo and Franz.
A true full circle moment, I think, for Mo and I. Growing up, going as little kids to that gym to watch the pros play, and now bringing an NBA game there is pretty special for us. So, yeah, we're just going to try and enjoy every second of it, take it all in, and just appreciate the opportunity.
First NBA regular season game in Germany should be a good one. While Franz's availability is up in the air, his older brother Mo returned to the Magic lineup in yesterday's home win over the Pelicans. He got a standing O from the Kia Center crowd. He got 8 points in his first action after tearing his ACL way back in December of 2024. So we've got one Wagner back.
Yeah.
We're going to get Franz back. It would be great if he could play in Germany, but it might be a little too tight.
Yeah, it seems like it. All right, thanks, Ryan. More news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com and the News 6 Plus streaming app.
Until then, have a fantastic night. Bye.